Compton crazy mother named Ice Cube. From the gang called Fellers with Attitudes. When I'm called off, I got a soda. Squeeze the trigger and bodies are hauled off. You too, boy, if you with me, the police are gonna have to come and get me off your ass. That's how I'm going out. For the pump mother, they're going out.
Look who's with me. Look at this. Our Dave, our Conor. Oh, how are you, pals? My pals are here.
Doing okay.
So first of all, I just wanted to say thank you all to everybody, because I asked Des and Adam to do it last week, and they said, and I said, "Oh, should we try this again then? Should we?" And the response was awesome. So I just want to thank you both publicly, basically. Thank you so much for coming on and doing this for us and so forth.
Well,
I really
on behalf of Dave and myself, it's our honor.
It is. Good lad. Brilliant. Let's just have a look who's here before we get into stuff. G-Force is here. Conor was first. Look at that. Conor's first. No. Martin. Hi, Ricardo. Hi, Kieran. Our Des is here. What does he say? Looking forward to. I'm looking forward to tonight. It was funny because I always make sure that, you know, I think, I don't know about YouTube, because you two do your YouTubes and so forth, but I always want to make it entertaining, or want to talk about something on it. Do you know what I mean? So I was just sat there and I was looking through my room. I bought some stuff week before last, sorry, and I was looking through my room, and there's memories there of everything. Sometimes I've always said things like toys are like music to me, because you remember who got it, where you were, what year it was, that kind of thing. I think every story, every toy or collectible that we have tells a story, but which ones are your favorite ones? You know,
it's funny you say that. It's not just a story. Like, and I noticed this on Thursday. I was off work last week, and I headed over to Big Bang Comics because I'd watched the 3 episodes of Andor, and I was like, I want an Andor figure, so I headed over to buy, and I ended up buying Deirdre because I just wanted, and it's what we do. It's what we've always done. We watch it on TV, and as you said, it's the memory of, you know, where I was, who I was with when I saw that movie, and you know.
It's weird as well. I don't know whether you two think like this. I'll ask you both a question. I asked this to the lads last week. How easy or hard was it to come up with a 5 and an honourable mention? Because there's so many ways you can do it. You think to yourself, am I going emotional? Am I going gifts? Am I going stuff I've bought myself? Am I going? So how did you come to your top 6, if you will?
Well, I had an idea. I had at least 3, and then when I knew we had to have an honourable mention, that I was like, which one is going to be the honourable mention, and which one's going to be your 3rd or 4th or 5th? Yeah, it was tricky. I got there, I think.
What about yourself, Conor?
Yeah, it was a balancing act, as Dave said. You know, maybe 1 and 2 was a quick pick, an easy one to decide on, but then you're trying to think, what way do I want to, you know, what do I want to be my number 3, or why is it my number 3? And I think I even sent you a message cursing you on Sunday morning because I was sitting up in bed saying,
nothing new.
Bloody Shabby, it's stressing me out.
Des said something last week which was I thought was very interesting, when he turned around and said, this is my top 5 now, but next week, if I was on again, I could have a completely different top 5. Did you two think that way as well? It's like, I always think that about Star Wars figures. When people do like a top 10 Star Wars figures, the next time you do it, your top 10's got to be completely different. Is that how you think?
Yeah, every top 10 or top 5 from now on YouTube needs to have "for now" in bold capitals underneath.
Maybe we should change the title. Top 10 for now. Do you know what I mean? But it's just funny because I was talking to you behind before we went live, and I had this thing, because I don't know whether you two do it, and sometimes I think we take advantage for what we do, because it's like a fix in it to us. We'll get something new and we go, oh, I've got it, or especially if it's a pre-order, you found it in the store, but oh, brilliant, and it goes on your shelf, and then immediately you're on to your next thing straight away. And I always have that thing where I you know, sometimes I know I'm laughing because if my wife hears me, she's going to be, I can't stop buying sometimes. I've got to get this and I've got to get that. But I never take the time out to appreciate what I've got. Do you ever go through that
thing? I'm like that, because I collect so many different things. I'll get one, then get maybe another one to go with it. Totally forget about them and concentrate on something else. And then you just like with a tiny fraction of a collection that you've not finished collecting.
It's always such a strange thing. What about you, Connor? Do you think the same way?
Yeah, 100%. Like, I mean, like I said, last Thursday I ran across the city. Well, I got the tram, but I went over to buy an Andor. I wanted a figure from Andor, something. So I picked it, Deirdre, and I came home and I was like, I know it's a re-release, but should I get that other Andor figure? I was ready to hit the order button. But even on Saturday night, I went with my poor wife, dragged her to Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah, we went this weekend. It was awesome.
Yeah, I've lost serious brownie points on that one. But anyway, but I came home and I was looking on Amazon, and the new Palpatine figure they done where he's in the Revenge of the Sith kind of robes.
Yeah. I don't believe it. That's so weird. I was looking for that one yesterday.
Should have brought it down.
I was looking for that one yesterday. Like, but that's important to us. We've spoken about this on CSR before, where we're from a generation growing up. It wasn't just the toy, was it? It was the comic, it was the TV show, it was the cartoon, it was the movie. So everything would work in balance, wouldn't it? You know what I mean? So obviously we're still doing it because we're going to go and see a 20-year movie going, I've got to get the figure for that as soon as I get home and so forth. Do you think that it's opening? Again, I can only speak for myself. So I used to keep everything in boxes. Everything was boxed. And I had a thing where I thought, maybe I'd appreciate it more if I started opening them. So when the Masters of the Universe, I mean, my Black Series I've never opened. I've got a couple of loose ones, that people have sent in or have found or whatever, but they're all closed. And I think that's where it came from, because I'm getting these Black Series figures and I'm looking at the box and I'm taking a picture to put it in my inventory. Oh yeah, brilliant. Boom, on the shelf, starting again. But the Masters of the Universe, when that came out, I know our Lucy was going to get back into the Masters, you know what I mean? And I thought this is a great opportunity for me to actually do a memory of one of my children. She's at that age, which was what, 10, 11 or whatever when they came out. Exactly. And I loved it because of that. And sometimes it's weird, and this is what I to ask you both. I'm going around the whole question here. But do you think sometimes when you open something and display it, that gives you a bit more than it is just, you know what I mean? It gives you more of an appreciation than just leaving it in the box and sticking it on a shelf?
Well, I open most everything, really. I've got a few things that get boxed up, but I open most things, so it's always like that for me.
Yeah, so you appreciate it more because you open it, don't you? Yeah.
I like to feel that I bought something, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Have you ever done that, though, when you open something, though, David? It's not as good as what you thought, though. Have you ever done that?
Many a time.
It looks ace in the box, you take it out, you're like,
yeah.
Right,
or an accessory goes flying past your head and you're like, I've never seen that again.
I opened an Anakin Skywalker from, the original Revenge of the Sith figures in the big bubble. Yeah. I opened an Anakin Skywalker last week because I wanted to just, get familiar with it again. So I ripped it up and destroyed the box. What a crap figure. It's terrible. The likeness is bad.
Oh,
very rigid and static and just has floppy arms. Yeah,
what a crap figure.
It looked better in the box. I should have kept it in the box.
It's funny.
It is a tough one because yes, I've kept some things on cards where I don't have the sort of same attachment to them, but I'd be like you, Dave. I'd come home, I'd rip them open. I want the utility of interacting with that, that feeling of a new toy that I used to get on Christmas morning as a kid.
Yeah.
I want to display it and pose it, and might take some photographs with it. They might end up on Instagram or something, if I'm happy enough with them. So I've always maintained I'm not a collector. I don't collect stuff. I'm just doing what I always done. I go out, pick up something, play with it, put it aside, play a new one, and then go back to it. So
yeah, that makes perfect sense. That's a good way of looking at it. Gary Moore's here, John Maguire is here, Oppie's here, Mr. Redmond's here. Everybody's turned up. Everybody's here to see you. That's Mrs. Knight. Hello, Mrs. Knight. Nice to see you. Our Gerard has come to see us.
Gerard.
Let's have a look. Miriam's here. Good old Size here. Oh, good old JD's here. Hello, JD, my pal. It was nice to see Nicole as well on Friday. It's like, I love it when people have been around for ages, but you see the names now and then, and I think, that's brilliant. So thanks, JD, for coming in. TJC's here. David, Gary Moore, look, happy to see our JD. Brilliant. Des, let's have a look who else is here. Wow. Well, I was never there. And you know what the funniest thing is? I've been talking to you lot, and when you were all at DublinCon, I get more intrigued about this story than I think you lot do. And I think it's because I wasn't there. Do you know what I mean? So,
Listen, we were all on the tram. Dave was there. James got shoved off. I got blamed. Dave was there. I'm leaving it at that. Let the chat decide who pushed James off the tram.
Well,
it's open to interpretation.
I was just gobsmacked. I thought, what has just happened?
Dave will never get over it. That's what it is.
No.
Reynolds, good old Luke's here. A plethora of celebrities. Well, that's really nice of you to say. Mr. Whitehouse can't stop tonight. He's always out. Have you noticed him? He always writes and says he's out. But wait to say, I have a great chat. I'll come to cheers, Scott. Have a good night tonight, pal. I'll just see if there's any more names I can see. I'm reserving judgment until I see what Conor and DTM get out. I'm looking forward to this. It's because we always show stuff on our stuff and this and that. But how have you approached your top 5 tonight then? Is it a sentimental thing? Is it something that means something to you? Did nostalgia play a part?
Go on, Conor, you go.
Yeah, I'm looking around at my pile here beside me. Yes and no. I think I kind of went for, most people have seen everything I've got anyway. I did tub thumpers and things like that. And so I was trying to just show one or two, I think, might be just a little bit more quirkier than normal. So, but I like them. So, you know,
I think we're just nosy, aren't we?
Controversial.
We're nosy, though, aren't we?
Yeah.
We always want to say, and I think that's a good thing. That's why I'm glad we don't all collect the same stuff, or because it get a bit boring, wouldn't it? You know,
that's it. If everyone's got the same stuff, that's it. It's just,
it's funny, when we go to say the NEC, we all separate. We all go in and we're queuing together and we're talking about this, that, and the other, and then we separate. And because you
don't see each other, that's it.
No, because size looking for, say, the Marvel Select figures or some of the DCs. After Dave heads straight for the NECA section, I'm gone in another direction, looking at maybe Star Wars or G.I. Joe. So we all want something that a little bit different, and it's great that there's enough out there for us all to be a little bit different and a little bit unique in what we collect.
I think me, you, and Dave have got that in common though, because we are collectors of stuff we like, aren't we? It's like we don't just focus on one thing. It's like I've got a picture that I had from Joe Fest last year, and I came back and there's everything from superpowers to A-Team. Everything's in there. You know what I mean? And you're looking for, and that's why I've never classed myself, lads, as a vintage or a mod. Like you were saying before, you've never classed yourself really as a collector. It's things you like and stuff. I'm the same way. If I like it, and I like yesterday we went to a flea market, and I found the mum rod. Do you remember the little red mum rod with the staff?
Oh yeah,
it was under $10. And anyway, he didn't have the staff with him, but I thought for £8-9 or whatever it was, I'll buy him. Anyway, I go on eBay. I thought I'll just see if I can find the staff to it, but I didn't realize because I was writing mum rod in it, right, and it kept coming up the big blue figure. Do you remember the blue figure from '85?
Yeah,
and I'm like, how is it I can't find this red one? But I didn't realize that it was a mail away figure. That was actually a mail away when we were kids. I never knew that because we all had it. But it's funny we talk about the Star Wars being a mail away or the Joes being, but even Thundercats did it, and I was like, wow, that's So once I wrote in mail away, they all came up. But is it the Cantina Coxie? The Cantina Coxie. Let's have a look. As far as a Grail, it is your Cantina, Gary. Did you back the Cantina? Any of yous? No. I hope you've recovered from this treatment you received from Stu. Okay. Quick dopamine hit every time you get something new. It's that. And that's why I don't like pre-ordering stuff for me, because I get so excited, but by the time it gets here, I'm like, novelty's worn off.
I want to go in bed. I want a day out to pick up my toy, and to me that's still a special part of it, is going and getting it. And
here we go. Top 5 reasons Shabby's a girl. Here we go. Top 5. He collects dolls. I don't collect dolls. I like Gem and the Holograms. Dolls he collects. He purchases dolls. He owns several dolls. His dolls are his favourite things. Well, it's all good, Kieran. Last night we had fun, which is the point of it all, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let's have a look. Smithy, everyone's saying hello to Smith Lord. I found the Andor's display at Walmart G-Force. Had some great. What are you thinking of Andor? I mean, we're going to do a top 5, but I'll just ask you quick what you're thinking of it.
I enjoyed it. What I saw of it, yeah, the 3 episodes were good.
Yeah.
Krennic were good, but I always like Krennic anyway. But yeah, it started off better than it did the first series. We'll just see how it goes.
What about yourself?
I loved it. I loved it.
Yeah.
I enjoy the slow pace of it because I find with a lot of the new Star Wars, Ahsoka, even Mandalorian, Book of Boba Fett, it's just all these big, fast action scenes with, super cool lightsaber moves and then like a thin story thread to link to the next amazing scene. So, visually, these new stuff have been brilliant, but there's no sort of substance to it. So it's that slow pace, the build up. I enjoy that sort of tension building.
It's like a novel. It's like a book. That's why I like it.
Yeah. I did like the bit where everyone's seen it, right? The bit where the mother-in-law comes. Everyone can relate to that. How awkward that was. Yeah,
we've all
seen it, so I'm not saying anything. I completely disagree, DTM. I think Deirdre, she stole it in the first season. She's stealing it in this one. She's a brilliant character, that Deirdre. The woman who plays her. I think she's an Irish actress, isn't she? She's just superb. I mean, she really is. I can't wait to see how her story goes and so forth. Yeah. So I wondered where my knitting needles were going. What? Knitting needles. Here we go. Adam.
Keep dressing as a geisha again.
Excuse me. Evening, Shabby, Conor and DTM. Sorry I'm a little late. I was in a meeting for the Toy Fair stuff. I was talking to him this morning and he said it went really well. So well done. It looked really good. Looking forward to this. Also, also a nice haircut, Mr. DTM. There you go.
I just washed it. Yeah. It would you a wash?
Oh, let's have a look.
Every second Sunday.
This is why I should always wear my glasses. If there isn't Chris Wilden Shabby's top 5, I'd eat my Care Bears. I haven't got any. Well, I've got 2 Care Bears that G-Force got me from Joe Fest, little ones.
Yeah, I got a Care Bear off him as well.
Yeah, you got a Care Bear off him too. Yeah. Let's just get down a little bit more, see if there's anybody else. Here we go. I like the spy side of Andor, sneaking around, hiding. Exactly. I Gilster, waiting for Andor to finish so I can watch it all at once. That's a good idea too.
I'm going to do that, but I ain't got it in me to wait a full month so I can start watching it. So I had to.
In a way, though, with them having these, it's like a mini movie every week, isn't it? Because all them episodes were over 50 minutes last week. So I thought, this is great doing it that way. And I like the way they did all the culture on Chandrilla. And I enjoyed it. I thought it was great.
Yeah,
it was a good start. There's going to be some. I can't read that. Can you?
That's going to be some binge, Gilly. The episodes are 50 minutes.
They're all 50. Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I'd do it every week. Let's have a look. Shabby, put your glasses on, Chief. As Coxie said, girl. It's not Chris. I will. I'll try them on. Right, can't avoid spoilers that long to watch it all at one go. That's a good idea too, because there are a few spoilers. It's like I said, the end part of it, the bit of a controversy, but it wasn't really a controversy for me. I thought you said it perfectly, Conor. You wrote and said. It didn't. The scene was brilliant the way it was done. It was just you shouldn't have used that word for me. That's all it was. You know what I mean?
I really like the scene. Sorry, Dave.
Go on.
No, I really like the scene because that's exactly what you'd expect from a middle management, kind of imperial officer taking full advantage of people on these worlds that they were sort of colonizing and taking over. And I thought it was really well done. The way they sort of introduced it at the start, the first scene, you kind of knew, it was all employed. And then he, which I thought was great, built the tension. Then, then there was the sort of, he attacked her in the cabin, but it was literally when that word was shouted, it just brought I was sitting there engrossed. I was in the Star Wars universe, and it just sort of snapped me sort of back into the real world. And I think that's why I didn't like it, where, I just think if she just shouted, he attacked me, I just would have stayed
because it was obvious what was happening, and it worked really well. Like I said, I had no. I think I just my personal opinion. I think people have blown it out of proportion. It's not. Oh my god!
I wouldn't even call it a controversy. Like it was,
Jono says that's the downside to having 3 episodes a week, GeForce, having to really avoid the it's never going to happen now, is it? It's completely different. So, right, well, we've had a good chat. We've got to know our lads. So we're going to start off with honourable mentions. This is your honourable mention. So this just didn't make your top 5.
No.
So I'll start off with our DTM. What's your honourable mention, DTM?
Honourable mention, right? I just need, and I'm just picking it up. A big Darth Vader.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's the Black Series one from the Only One Kenobi show. I've always wanted one. And they brought them out before, and they had a little speaker up here. I don't know if you had a little slot where you could just didn't look authentic enough. So when this one came out, I had to get this.
Yeah, they changed the colour a bit too, didn't they? Because the helmet's glossy and it's a bit more matte on the face, like it was in the.
It's a glossy one, yeah. But so that's my honourable mention. It didn't make me top 5. I was running an iron, but it's one of my favourite.
I've got a few of them, and you know what I mean. And you watch Port's Collectibles and Reynolds and stuff; they've got loads.
Have you seen the inside of this one?
No, let's have a look. Let me make it bigger.
The dome bit comes off, so cat can play with that. And you got all this stuff here, like these bits, and then it comes apart again, and you just got the neck bit.
Look at the details in that.
That's really well done. Really is, yeah.
So it didn't make me top 5, but I love it a lot, and I'm glad I got it. So.
How many times have you put it on, DTM?
Every other week.
It's funny because I've got a few, like I said, and I pissed them all to my missus for the Biker Scout one. I need that Biker Scout one, and she got it. I still haven't opened it.
You had to go that one. I mean, I don't know why.
Great start, right? Connor, what's your honourable mention?
So I was kind of like something I enjoyed that I said it might be slightly controversial, but I've enjoyed collecting these
the credit collection.
The credit collection. I love the artwork, the show, and all at the end of each episode. So these have been a lot of fun to collect, and they've been hard to kind of track down to get them. I think they've all been Amazon exclusives, so it took me a long time to and again, just persevered watching, and one day it just popped up on Amazon, so I was able to
Is it only the Mandalorian ones you wanted them? The reason I ask is because if you need some, me and GeForce are flying knowledge because they've got practically all the credit collection in there for under £8.
Well, funny enough, when the Cara Dune, is that her right name? Am I saying it right? Cara Dune figure. I didn't like her figure in Black Series, but when they brought out the credit collection one, I bought it. And I just never got around to open it. But the rest of them I'm not really bothered with. It was just, I think it was just the Mando ones because they were such different colours. This one here, I think that was the second one. I could be wrong.
Right.
And then this was the most recent one. I hope I have it in the right order. But this was the hardest one to get. And again, it was on Amazon, but it disappeared really quickly. And then this is the one that people in the States were picking this up for like $5 and $6. Yeah. And I couldn't get it. And I was going on kind of Facebook groups and all over here for $30 or 40, or £30.
You should have said.
And I just, I persevered. And like the other ones, it just popped up on Amazon and I grabbed it. So, so it was kind of fun trying to track them down or wait for them to come out. But I just, like I said, I think the Mando figure was a great figure. I know it didn't have amazing articulation, but I really enjoyed getting a new Star Wars figure when Mandalorian came out, and I love the base figure and just the fact that they were doing it with these crazy different colors. And I've got a mud Mandalorian, I've got a snow Mandalorian, I've got a helmet can come off. So I must have about 8 different Mandalorian figures now.
Oh, that's brilliant.
They're kind of my favorite. I kept them on card, which I never do. I just kept them on card.
What's the thing you get inside?
So it's supposed to be like an Imperial credit or a Republic credit.
Oh,
Yeah, they
really?
all came with different ones. There was a circle one, there was a square one. There's there you go. Yeah,
I've never picked any of them up.
Well,
they were
this
good.
one,
If you ever want some, let me know, and I'll grab them. I'll get a side to bring them home with you.
this one is round, so if I ever get stuck for a euro for the Tesco trolley, I might have to crack that one open. But
I agree with that.
outside
That's a banging start, boys. To tell you the truth, I never would have thought you put all that out. Star Wars as well.
fun little line that I've enjoyed kind of collecting, and not even the whole, like I said, just getting the Mandalorians in those different colors has been fun.
Yeah. It's good doing that though, because you like building. I like collecting the same characters over and over, but all slightly different. Yeah, it's good. I do a lot with the Admiral Akbar. Just wash my hair.
I tell you, that's a banging start. DTM. I got the earlier version. Yeah, Luke, so like I said, Luke and Paul's ones that do it for me. I've never bought one really, except for the Jen's always got me one. A sister got me the Kylo Ren one, the helmet, a couple of years back when it first, and then that shot up in price, which always baffled me. Why? Jason O2 got me the X-Wing one. And then I really wanted the biker's cap, but I think with the helmets,
never got the X-Wing one. That's a big regret. I never picked that up.
Nice. And obviously the Stormtrooper one as well that Jen got me for Christmas. But I like them. But
yeah, they're good. I mean,
they're nice. I never got the Darth. I wish I got the Darth film.
There's a sound effect in it. It's very low, quiet. You can barely hear it. But other than that.
The X-Wing one has lights as well. It does all the lights in it. And it comes through the visors. They've been brilliant, to be honest. Yeah, I've really liked them. And then credit collection. Wow. It's funny that was another thing that they did this thing for that we never store in stores. And then we walk into Ollie's and then there's rows and rows and rows of them. They've got them now. I went into Ollie's this weekend and they have all the retro collection Return of the Jedi. I picked up the Emperor and Han Solo and Luke. And $3.99. $3.99. That's it. Under $4, which is what £2.50 for you lot. So
which is what a retro figure should be. Let's be honest. That is,
I agree with that. I still have my original Black Series Darth Vader helmet in the box. I can't bring myself to open it. I have to open stuff like that, Ricardo. Is that way? Did you feel the same way, DTM? When you got, I'm definitely opening it. Do you
It was always going to go. Yeah, I have it. I've got another room upstairs. It's just solely Star Wars.
Right.
It's all in the Star Wars room. Yeah.
Okay, this is Star Wars room.
The Star Wars room, right? Yeah.
You can see mine if I move out the way and take this off. There's all mine at the bottom. Can you see them all?
Oh yeah.
And they go all the way around like so.
The Clone Trooper one as well.
Yeah, that was an old one, but I just loved that. And I found that in this thrift shop 10 years ago, whatever, and it was never touched. So I thought, I'll have that one. And I got the Phasma one too. They did a Phasma one years ago, and it was like, but I halved it. Came with the back half, and you put it on, and I put it on my wall over there just because I loved that helmet. I thought that's one thing Star Wars, regardless of what trilogy it is,
that could have been such a cool character, Phasma. Like there was the build up, the actress that was playing, and we were all hyped for that character.
Well, we watched Game of Thrones, didn't we? And she was brilliant in that. Yeah. So the funniest thing is, well, in between The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi, they brought out the Phasma book. And it's one of the best books that Star Wars has ever done. It is superb. And the planet she's from and how she ended up, I don't want to spoil it for anybody if they want to watch, but you can tell what a survivor. And then you finish this book, like you can tell what a survivor she was and that her armor is actually from the Emperor's shuttle and whatever. And you finish the book and you're like, whoa, I tell you what, this next Last Jedi is going to be, she's brilliant.
Did she
falls down the hole? Good luck. That's the end of that character.
Did she die?
Yeah, she dies in it, doesn't she? Yeah. She falls down that thing in a big fire pit, from what I remember. But the book made it out like she was going to be this, and she could have been. I agree with Connor. She could have been one of the best characters.
I just think an awesome looking, great actress, awesome looking character. I remember the build up to The Last Jedi. We all thought she was going to be a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, but then again, they had the our side. I remember our side going mad that they had the characters from the raid in there, all the lads in the raid, and so I was like, "Oh my god, they've got the lads from the raid!"
Oh yeah.
They ran down a corridor. Crazy, isn't it? Chivo says all my helmets are in detail, surrounded by figs. Too hard to take them out to wear. Yeah, I think Do you do that thing though? Did you try it on and go, Luke? You do, don't you? I had the X-Wing on, and you can't help yourself. Do you know what I mean?
Sometimes when I'm on my own, I'll put it on and just sit watching TV. I'm not joking either. I just leave it on.
Yeah, it's just you do, don't you? Put one of the helmets on, and you're like, this. I mean, obviously your wife's not in.
We'll
She's
just
got out
check
shopping.
it. Oh, here we go again.
Great choice, Connor, says Armando. They never did that credit collection with 3 3/4 inch, did they? They just stick.
I don't think so. Yeah, I think it was Black Series only.
Yeah.
No, I don't think they did a TVC.
And I like them because well, I'll give you an example. I was in Ollie's yesterday, and they're now doing these for $8.99. The novel, the Christmassy ones. And usually I'm not one for, I don't like novelty figures, especially when you're spending $30, $25, $30 on them. And I was like, oh, but for that price. But the credit collection I did like. I thought, no, actually, that looks cool because I liked the end of the episodes where they did all the artwork and to make figures like
just the concept art on show and just to have those figures.
Yeah.
And like I said, I just preferred the color of that Cara Dune figure, just to sort of the glossier look to her armor. It's a little more screen accurate. So that's why I went with that one. And
why is it when Connor says something I enjoy, I immediately went to choir practice with Father Michael? You recovered from yesterday, Jude. Also, right, I'm gone. Someone having a conversation there. Picked up the Bo-Katan Ollie's. Yeah, they have. So if you ever need any, Connor, and when our side comes, I'll make sure we put some in his bag. Like the Return of the Jedi retros, they've got the Clone Wars vintage collection. I mean, when they did the first Clone Wars animation, they brought
crazy that they're finding their way there, isn't it? And
Ollie's is packed.
I've never seen them in a
they make it so hard for us to get them when they bring them out, and then they all end up in bloody discount stores.
Well, the retro ones that they did for Ghostbusters, I sent Luke a lot. They were all $3.99 in there, and I sent Luke spare ones I had. Do you know what I mean? And they just did the Fright features, and they were on sale in GameStop for about $11. I thought brilliant. I saw them yesterday in Walmart. I mean, in Ollie's for $3.99.
Yeah, you can get them cheap over here. I've seen them. I think I've even seen a couple in TK Maxx over here, less than a tenner.
It's sort of comments like this. I'm glad I haven't got my glasses on, to tell you the truth. I'm going to be all them in you. Oh, the greatest. Anyway.
Oh, I sobbed like a baby.
Hi, Zoe. I thought you started at 9. No, 8 o'clock on this one. Let's have a look. Howdy, Zoe. Everyone's saying hello to Zoe. It was junk, so so many private conversations. I keep pressing private conversations. Hello, Rob's Retro. Good old Rob's here. Nice to see you, bun. Let's have a look. Fact: these two can drink a lot of Guinness. Can you?
I try my best.
Well, Psyche's putting it in front of us.
Yeah.
Don't be rude.
He's an enabler.
I don't think I've had a pint of Guinness in about 12 years. They just sell it over here, like on tap or whatever. You can get the cans or whatever, but where I live, I mean, obviously in the big cities they will do. Because when we went to that bar at Joe Fest, they did that moon shadow or moon, and it was. We weren't happy with that. We were like, because I said to the bartender, "Have you got anything local? Like we've got this. What was it? Blue shadow and moon shadow, and me and our Dave tasted this, and we went, "Oh, it's a bit fruity." This is
river.
Yeah, but Guinness. No. I always like the cold one when they did Guinness Ice Cold. Remember what was it called? Yeah. It was a big. I remember years ago when they first brought it out, and I loved that stuff. I thought that was really nice.
It's here over here now, the cold one now.
Does DTM wear that helmet whilst practicing to use his other hand? That's a good point.
I'm no comment on that.
Plead the fifth.
They never made a carbonized 3PO, which is the one character that would look awesome in that type. It's a shame that, isn't it, that they didn't carry that on, especially in Black Series. That archive one is nice, but it's not. It'd have been awesome.
It's so dull. Yeah, it's I think I have 2 Black Series 3POs, and I don't like them.
Well, brilliant. They are. So there's your honourable mentions. Right, let's get to number 5. Brilliant. So, Connor, I'll start with you. What's your number 5, pal?
Well, Dave stole my thunder. My number 5 is this bad boy.
So cool. I love that thing. Yeah.
Open the blast doors.
Yeah.
This was, I couldn't believe it when I got this. So my wife said to me, and you said your wife got it for Christmas.
Yeah, she did. Yeah.
So obviously it came out and she was like, "What do you want for Christmas?" And I said to her, I've always wanted a stormtrooper helmet, and she was like, "What? Are you mental? You know,
What?
We need to throw you in somewhere?" And I was like, "No,
brilliant.
it's." I don't know. I was like, not something I was going to buy myself because you've kids to buy and pay for and all. So I literally wore this the whole Christmas day. I got it, took it out of the box, and walked around the house. And so it's funny that you picked the Vader helmet because for me, I was always just in awe of the stormtroopers and the baddie soldiers from Star Wars.
It's so iconic that it's funny, isn't it? Because obviously they've done clone troopers and they've done the sequel troopers, but there's something about that. It's just
it's just evil, and So I picked this as number 5 because I don't, I'm not like, say, as you said, Luke Reynolds' massive collection and Paul's collectibles, but it's my one and only helmet. Of course, I've always wanted more, but I just love it. So it's just like it's it's a little bit out there, but So
it's funny that it's well, because when you watch people's live streams or whatever, the majority of us lads, regardless of whether they're big Star Wars collector, have that Stormtrooper helmet. It's so iconic, isn't it?
I still can't. I still have to pinch myself when I look at it, knowing that I, in my 40s, but I finally got a Stormtrooper helmet. It was just something that.
I felt I'd always wanted one. When I got it.
Yeah,
to me, I'd completed Star Wars then because I didn't really think I'd get out else.
Well, let me ask you both a question. What would you say your favorite Star Wars helmet is? Like, if you had to pick one to make, so for Black Series to make.
Well, I think the Vader one is pretty spectacular now, and
the Vader one.
I did come close a few times pulling the trigger on picking that up. Dave clearly has more sense than I do, but like Vader, one day I may still pick it up, and I do regret not getting the Luke X-Wing one. I so regret not getting that one.
It's awesome.
It was knocking around Amazon. I think it was an Amazon exclusive over here. Maybe
it was here too. Yeah, Amazon exclusive.
But it was knocking around for ages, and it would kind of drop $20 or €20, it would go up 20. So I was kind of watching it, and I was like, I'll just play the long game on it. Then poof, it was just gone. Like one of Si's magic tricks. Gone. and never came back. So one day I'll get it.
What about you, DTM?
I think the Shaw Trooper from
that would be. I reckon that will be next. That's got to be one of them.
He's my favourite trooper design at the moment. Now it has been for a few years now.
It's nice, because they've just done the Death Trooper, haven't they? They released, they sold that at Star Wars Celebration. To me, Bushi's out. I've always liked Bushi's helmet, and Josh at Hollow Chronicles has a replica one, and it's done in the leather and he's beautiful. It must. I'd hate to say how much it was. I've always been a fan of that helmet. I just think it looks really. I love that outfit, the Bushi. I
love that figure as a kid because it was Leia. But it was a bad guy as well. So, such an iconic figure. I'd probably, if they brought that out, I probably would.
So many,
but that's the thing. If they brought out an Emperor's World Guard one, we're all going to go, I've got it. Exactly. You can't win, can you? You can't win.
I'm funny, when Dave said the Shore Trooper, my mind went straight to the, what's the new Ice Trooper that was in Andor? The one that was in,
Solo. Range Trooper.
The range
trooper, the one with the fur on it.
Awesome figure, great character.
That was one of the things about Rogue One. I've got to admit that when you saw Death Troopers and Range Troopers, they fitted seamlessly in. It was like they were always there. Do you know? That's what like the U-wing to me. First time you saw a U-wing, but the way they did it and the way it looked, I just thought this has always been.
Just fit in, it did. That was a big win for Rogue One.
I loved it, Rogue One. Yeah, excellent choice, Connor. I'd rather have that Stormtrooper helmet instead of that. I don't know. He sees one of them in it. I haven't got the Vader one, but I've wanted, and the Stormtrooper one I got is there. But I'd love the Vader one. I'd love a Bush one. The Mando, I'd have the Boba Fett one, but I don't think I'd go for Mandos. Yeah. Not that I don't like them; they are nice. But I think if you're spending that type of money, 150, whatever they are, he's got to eat you, and you're like,
So it's got to hit the hearts.
But I suppose these elements is the same as the movies. It always makes me laugh. This Des, Connor and DTM. When people say, "What's your favorite Star Wars movie?" And my answer to that is, "Well, which one are you turning off?" You know,
Yeah, yeah.
Oh no, not Empire Strikes Back again. You know, you keep them all on, don't you? So, right, what's your number 5, Howard?
Right, well, cast your mind back to the early 90s, 1990, 1991.
Yeah.
And a TV program came on TV that changed my life. And it's not a toy; it's a collection of media. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but it's very popular. Twin Peaks.
Oh, yes.
Show, yeah.
Oh,
I watched it, and it totally changed who I was as a pubic teenager. And
what was it about it? Was it because it was just unique?
They're about this little sleepy town where a young girl's found murdered. They call the FBI in. The FBI agent's quirky as you can be. The characters in it were all bonkers nuts. It turned out it ran a good full season, and they still didn't solve who killed Laura Palmer. That was the big. It was like who shot they are. Who killed
You
Laura
always remember that portrait of Laura Palmer.
Yeah, the portrait.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So I mean, I loved it. I mean, I Skyped school just so I could watch it. I recorded them on videotape, played them. I didn't bother with school. I just stayed at home and watched Twin Peaks.
Did they ever do a remake of that, a reboot of it?
Yeah. That brings me on to this. This is the season that they did in 2017. When a lot of the original characters came back. Agent Cooper came back, and
look at that.
That was a solid show. That, to be honest, I think I preferred that 2017 series to the first.
Really?
Yeah. So that's Laura Palmer up back. You could just
there it is. Yeah.
And even the movie, they made a movie as well.
Right.
92. I had to get that. Yeah, big fan of Twin Peaks.
That's impressive. Twin Peaks. It's one of those you don't. I don't really. I liked it. Don't get me wrong, but I never went back to Twin Peaks. Did you ever watch it on the Twin Peaks?
David Lynch was just he's been a hero of mine for years.
I didn't watch it. It was one of those shows you'd sort of. It was always on, or it would pop on. I remember it being on, but I wasn't.
Yeah.
And the second series they done, was that a continuation, or was it a rebuild?
On, but the David Lynch sort of distanced himself away from it for a short while because studio interference and all that. They just wanted to solve the original murder, but he wanted to continue with building a town and all the quirky characters in it.
Right.
But just as the season 2 were finishing, he sort of came back, and it started feeling like Twin Peaks again. And I think that's why the second series is better. The 2017 series is better because he had no studio input, did what he wanted to do, and it clearly shows. If you're a fan of David Lynch, you'll get it when you watch it.
I liked Mulholland Drive, the movie.
Mulholland Drive, that's a solid one.
I like that.
One of my favourites as well.
Yeah, he just recently died, didn't he, David Lynch?
A month ago. Yeah, it might even be more recently. Yeah.
I don't know.
I think I'm the only one in this community with a David Lynch action figure.
Oh,
cool.
Yeah. So I'm quite proud of that.
That's awesome.
Wow, that's awesome. That was straight out of the box, that one. I would never have thought Twin Peaks was coming. Jonathan Redmond says, and that driver helmet would be an Into the By. Yeah, that would be cool.
Good show.
Yeah. I think Luke's got one of them, and
Luke has one, yeah.
Let's have a look. Please don't forget to hit that like button. Thank you, Kieran. That's nice of you. Yeah, but there's over 50 here. So thank you all so much. That's awesome. Leah Bush would be an awesome. Yeah, I'd love that. Oh, it might be hard to do though, because it was one of those helmets that had all different fabrics in it. There was leather on it, there was metal on it, there was plastic on it. But I'd love them to do it, Gary. I really would. Luke's training helmet would be good too.
Yeah,
that's iconic. I've got to agree with that. Black Series needs to make the TIE Fighter pilot. ATAT driver, but imagine a Black Series Bush helmet. Oh, and a Scarif troopers. Yes, I agree with all them. Every one of them. Hey, George, shame they don't do a Star Trek Breen helmet. Is that Breen? I've got to put my glasses on. Breen helmet. Did you see the fan fest last night at Universal? See the Back to the Future thing they did?
I saw some bits on social media on it. Yeah.
So
That were Doc was spot on, wasn't it?
Oh, it was, so they've opened, you go on these Universal tours, Connor, and you can go to Hill Valley and it's all right there. Well, it's the first time they've ever done it last night. They opened it and had a party there, and they did segments of Back to the Future. So there was hundreds of people there, but it's like what our Dave just said.
This.
It was, well, if you watch Adam the Woo or Ordinary Adventure, somebody like that, they've covered it, and it was one of those things you think, I'd love to have gone that. I'd love to have been there. It was so good. They were doing all the little scenes, and they had an enchantment under the sea, but it was all right there in Hill Valley.
Like they built the town, didn't they?
Yeah. Well, the town's there. The town's, this so it was the original one. And usually what they do is they do those tram tours that go around it. But they barely go to that part because it's so constantly used for other things. Yeah. But they opened it and they did this big fan, and it was only $70, and you could go do that. It was Dungeons and Dragons. It was, but they even went to the Star Trek part, and I'm talking here because I don't really watch it, but they actually had the official real Picard starship set, and they were doing like an adventure. Nice. Honestly, if anyone hasn't watched it, it was superb.
Oh, do you know what? If I sat down in that seat, I'd just be shouting orders at people, telling everyone what to do. Do this, do that, engage.
But it was all excuse me.
I was actually when I was a kid, I was over in Blackpool with my grandmother, my cousin. She brought it to two of us over as kids, and that's where I saw Back to the Future. So
yeah,
I only said it to Sai a couple of weeks ago. If they ever bring, the way they're bringing back out the anniversary Star Wars, I said, if they bring out, I know the audience closed now, but if they bring out a Back to the Future, I'd have to go to Blackpool to see it.
Yeah, it was just brilliant. I love stuff like that you can because, like I said, I think it's people like ourselves that have kept these franchises going. So for them to do that. Do you know what I mean? And they put this, it's the real clock tower that was used in the movie. Yeah. And they did this projection where the clock tower the lightning struck, and it went down the thing. And honestly, watch it if you haven't seen it. It was absolutely brilliant.
That's giving back to the fans, isn't it? That's really giving back.
I think it's awesome. Yeah,
beautiful.
A few years ago, the UK did this thing called Secret Cinema, and me, my brother, and my sister went down to somewhere in London where they just rebuilt the Hill Valley. And they showed the Back to the Future on a big screen at night. They put like a mock clock tower behind it.
Yeah.
Laurie in there, I'd gone in fancy dress. It was unbelievable.
I love stuff like that, yeah.
Because it was called Secret Cinema. So when you got there, you had to hand your phone in, they put it in a little locker, and you just went on your way. But the thing, everyone were dressed from 1950s. Me and my sister and my brother, we loved it.
I love stuff like that.
Yeah,
it's great because
no photographs, you had to just.
Oh, you see, and that was the difference from last night, because last night they actually said to people, dress up, come in cosplay, take as many videos as you want, interact, take as many photos. So it made it a proper experience, and I just think that's a nice thing to do.
I think that's wonderful. That's beautiful.
So they tried it as a first time last night, and Universal, man, they're going after Disney for everything, aren't they? Like, right, this is what it's got to do and stuff. But they're saying that epic universe that they've just built in Florida, which you lads are getting over there. They did that Back to the Future thing last night as an experiment, because if it works, it's going to go over to you boys, and it's going to go.
I'm going to move in.
That's what people were saying last night. But they stayed open. They let people stay till 2:00 in the morning. And so what they did was, it was a 45-minute show. So you had to walk around Hill Valley. And it's weird as well, because you've seen it in so many stuff. They went past Madame Ruby's, the tarot card reader in Pee-wee, and I never knew that the stairs next door that lead down is where Gremlins was, where right next door to the Pee-wee. Stuff like that. I think we forget about that about movies, don't we?
Well, Dave, if we ever get to go to that, I'll buy you a Pepsi.
Yeah, all right, get on.
I don't have a helmet in my collection. Might be tempted by a Royal Guard, though. Yeah, Royal Guard one would be really cool. I would like a hover tank driver helmet. Yeah, I think that design. Yeah, I agree with that.
All the Rogue One were awesome, weren't they?
Yeah. Shore Trooper. That's what one of you said. The Shore Trooper. I think it was you on it, DTM, that said Shore Trooper helmet's top tier. Rhino's here. Rhino. Lando Bounty Hunter helmet would be cool. Oh,
yeah. Pull it down a bit.
It would be awesome.
That was great in the trailer, wasn't it, when you saw it in Solo? And I was like, oh man, that is a cool touch. That you're like, what? But it wasn't Lando in it, was it? It was what was he called? Beckett. Beckett was in it. So the first season of Twin Peaks was awesome. That girl trying that cherry stalk into a knot with her tongue was something special. Hey,
He made
Rhino.
an impact.
Oh, Rhino went to Japan, did he? Oh, he had a blast in Japan. I saw
Wow. Nice.
I saw our friends Treasures for Trigger with Toy Ploy on a picture this morning. I thought that was cool.
All right.
Captain Enoch helmet would also be pretty cool. The
Are
gold
they doing one of
face.
those? Oh, have they not done one?
I think Customs have done it, and I think that's coming. I think they are. I think there was a thing that's coming, but that would be cool too because he's coming back, isn't he? So Japan is amazing. I bet it is. Would you ever go to Japan, boys? Would you ever like to go there?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love to. I'd love to visit Japan.
If things had been different this last couple of years, I would have gone to Celebration. But anyway, real life gets in way, doesn't it? So,
Well, Si said the next one's in Los Angeles, didn't he? So Twin Peaks was awesome, but bit weird as hell show. No idea what was going on most of the time.
No, I didn't either, but I loved it. Just so odd. A bit like who I've become, really, because I'm quite odd. And I can relate to a lot of the characters in there. Yeah.
Hi to the chat. Hi, Jason. Nice to see you, Jason.
Jason.
Only one Kenobi. Our pal Nick says, did anyone get the Twin Peaks reference in The Simpsons? I never got it because I've never seen Twin Peaks. There was a dancing horse or something.
Yeah, there's a scene in it. They keep dropping into this like room where it's full of red curtains and a weird zigzag black and white floor, and there's a little man there doing a dance.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
It's very, very different, but honestly, only one. Get it watched. It's good. You'll enjoy it.
Yourself?
I never watched. Sorry, Connor. I never watched Twin Peaks, but I did watch Wild Palms with James Belushi. Another weird book. Did that have anything to do with Twin Peaks? Wild Palms.
I think you were one of those that tried to sort of get in there on the odd TV program.
But it wasn't. There was no reference to Twin Peaks. Right.
No.
The shot was behind the vending machine. Let's have a look. Don't forget to hit that mute button. He's a cheeky sod.
Thanks, George.
Let's have a look. The British cheese plate was something else. There you go. Hey, Georgie. Love the time flames and the spinning number. Yeah, so what they did was when the electric hit down, the flames came up off the floor like the DeLorean had just taken off, and it had a spinning out of time thing actually on it.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
It was, yeah, honestly.
I have to look it up. How did I miss all this?
It was good. Yeah, the first time they did it last night, Fan Fest, it was good. But the other things was good too. If you're banging to Dungeons and Dragons, that was superb. The way they put all that together with, and they spend a lot of money on these things, don't they? And the Star Trek one was really good. So yeah, watch it if you can. Con, it was really good. Yeah. Hey, Coughlin, what have they missed? Loads of stuff. These lads are showing some great stuff. They really are. MOD, what's up, folks?
Hey,
nice to see you, pal. Everything's fine, mate. Everything's fine. And Georgie says hello to everybody. Let's have a look. A Pepsi free. Was that in that was Back to the Future, wasn't it? The Pepsi. You know, they had these things. They had this cookie apparently that had the flames on it. The out of time. So they went all out with it. But it's worth watching because it's funny because especially when you see lads our age and they've got tears in their eyes, they can't believe it. Do you know what I mean? But I suppose it's like I said, when you go to Galaxy's Edge and see the Falcon, or when you go and see the Goonies house, it means something to us, that sort of stuff, doesn't it? Well,
yeah.
You know, it's turning to 8-year-olds. Yeah, it really does. I'd done one of the later nights in Hollywood studios. It's great. Only about 1,000 or 2,000 people in the evening. Yeah, it was packed last night. It was really good. Dave loves spam and an egg butty.
I do very much. Yeah, that's a friend of mine from work. That I think it was like something he'd sort of put.
Oh, yeah. Brilliant!
I'm glad you're watching.
Came out of nowhere. Yeah. Right, anyway, we're up to number 4. Right, DTM. So, what is your number 4, my friend?
Right, number 4. Right, this is only just one of them because I didn't want to do a massive collection. Terminator.
Oh, look at that!
This is the Terminator 2 Mayfix action figure from the popular film Terminator 2. Judgment Day. Yeah, I've always liked Terminator, and I have a few more Terminator figures, but I won't show them. But this is my favourite one. His arms hanging off, and
Mayfix. So they're a bit more pricey, aren't they? Yeah, I remember the Wolverine. It was.
I've always liked the way that they do the makeup on the Terminator, where you see the skull all underneath. I don't know if you can see it very well, but
yeah, we can see it very well.
And I'm quite a big fan of these Mayfix figures as well because they're doing some great movie ones at the moment. And they've done RoboCop, more Terminators. You can get the skeleton, different versions of Arnold Schwarzenegger. Yeah, so that's
So
that's
is
fine.
it specifically all Terminator movies, or do you stick with like Terminator or Terminator 2?
T1 and T2 mostly, but I do have quite a bit from other bits of Terminator franchise as well, and the Kenner line that they did as well back in '90s when this came out. But yeah,
Awesome, love it.
Look at the way he holds the gun and
it
all.
comes
That's
with
fine.
different hands, and do you remember the Terminator? I haven't got it with me now, but it even comes with the thumb going down the bar. Yeah, come with that for some odd reason. But yeah, so that's mine. Yeah, Terminator.
That's
Do you
cool.
like it? Do you like all the movies? Though? I mean, because I hear,
Yeah,
it's not as good as this, but I don't mind them. I like that Dark Fate as well. I didn't mind it.
It's just different types of Terminator movies. It doesn't make any difference to me. I'll still watch them. I still enjoy them.
I
Yeah,
love Salvation.
Salvation's good.
A
Yeah,
lot of people don't like that one. I really like Salvation.
Is that the one with him who played Batman? Which one was that?
Yeah.
Christian Bale. Yeah, I like them all. There's not much.
By the
It's
way-
like a Jurassic Park movie, isn't it? There's only so much you can do with this sort of franchise, isn't it? A robot coming after you, you know. So I don't
Like
mind.
when you saw the 600 series when it were all like all these rubber skin, it looked really fake. But it were referenced to in the original movie, so you actually got to see it. They were rubbish, but you know.
What was the other thing I liked as well? The Sarah Connor Chronicles. That was a good show with
Oh,
Lena
yeah.
Headley.
Yeah,
That wasn't
Yeah,
bad
yeah.
either. So do you think
Yeah,
it's a
definitely.
franchise that can carry on? Do you think they can still do Terminator? Our Dave.
I don't know. Obviously, not with Arnold. He's I know it's hard to say, but he's too old now, and I think they just need to pass it on, create some other Terminator that can carry on that role like Arnold did over all them other movies. But I didn't mind the last one, Dark Fate. I thought it were all right. I think they just messed up killing John Connor off at the beginning.
They could do a TV show on Skynet. Do you know what I mean? And how it formed and how they got into it and all that.
Genesis were a bit like that. I can't remember which number film it was, but the Terminator Genesis, it had a lot to do with Skynet.
I never saw that. Is that the one with Emilia Clarke from Game of Thrones?
Yeah,
I never saw that one.
Again, I like that one. I thought Arnold were good in that, to be honest.
Brilliant. Man.
It's just a different take on the story, really. So it's just a different time period. So
It'll never be as good as what you enjoyed watching. I don't think anything will be.
No, I 100% agree. I never go into to a franchise now, especially if it's one that we've grown up with.
Yeah,
comparing it, because you just can't compare it. And you know, we're looking at stuff through childhood eyes. It's nostalgia.
Yeah,
we're trying to get that back, and
it's
you'll never get that.
Terminator. It's all nostalgia. You know, I remember going to the cinema with me mum and my sister to see T2. And I think it was like the first 15 rated movie I could legally go and watch. So you know, that's still there. That's probably why I still collect Terminator stuff, because of that time.
Yeah.
Well, we weren't allowed to watch Terminator because it was, I think it was over 18. So was it the original movie? And we spent our summers down in Wexford as kids, and I don't know, on a Tuesday night for 50p, you could go in to the town hall and they'd put a movie on. So it was a movie night. So I think it was just like a big telly or something. I can't remember, but it was cheap in. And I remember going in, and the film that night was Terminator. Me and my brother were like, holy shit, we're going to get to see it. We got home and my mother was like, so what was it? We were Robin Hood or something.
I remember watching it for the first time. Terminator came on BBC One, and they edited it to, you know, they just took all the bad bits out, all the bad language. And I managed to get a VHS copy later on in life. And it was like watching a totally different film. The F words were in there. You know, with the BBC just cut everything out. And I watched that version of it for so long. When I got the original Terminator, it was like a new film completely.
I remember that. We had a grandma me inside that as soon as she heard a swear word, it'd be off. But it was funny. I remember, for some reason, it's always, for me on ITV when I was a kid, it was always Beverly Hills Cop that took out all the swear words, and it just sounded so weird. You motherfunker and all that sort of stuff. And it just, the way the word changed, they never like just cut it out. They had to like overdub it, and it never sounded right to me. Never. Terminator 1, 2, and even 3 for me, says Jono, along with a TV show, rest I'll pass on. G4 says, built a 1/12 scale dirt bike for my necker, John Connor. Can't bring myself to take him out of the box. That sounds pretty cool. Right, Connor, what's your number 4, pal?
Number 4. So number 4, I went with this. Oh.
Ooh.
And the reason why is, what is this book? Is this out 2 years?
Yeah, 2 years. Yeah,
maybe. Yeah.
I still find things in it. I still, like, if I go to this book, there's so much in it. You're always finding something new, something you didn't know. But then you go and you look at a figure you had, and I don't know, accessories never lasted too long in our house. So, yeah, I just like absolutely love this. But and again, like straight away, I just opened it up. Right, I remember going up to County Newry with my grandmother. We were going up to North, and she had a few sterling left. We went to the toy shop, and I seen this Luke. It's the only time I ever seen him.
Yeah,
and the Stormtrooper. And as a kid, my mind was blown. And I also wanted to get the Jabba band, and she said, you know, I've only got enough for one. There was no bank cards in that day. Whatever cash I had brought, which is all you could use. So I chose the Jabba band from the Tour of the Jedi. And I always kind of regretted as a kid that I didn't have a Stormtrooper Luke Skywalker.
It's just so well done, isn't it? It's just one of the...
There's so much in it, and it's brought me so much joy, so much pleasure. It continues to do it. I mean, dust covers a little battered because, like I said, I'm just going to it. Always.
I've always liked those blokes, and I've always said that one of my favourite experiences. Oh, what about the press there? Well, like Dallas. One of my favourite experiences, Connor, in this whole thing was not being part of that book, but experiencing that book and getting to know the lads and watching it grow and watching them come on each other, you know, R's and Bosks and Only Ones, and you know what I mean, and Hollow Chronicles talking about it, and it was one of the best experiences.
The thing, because of you guys, we were all along for the ride, the whole journey from the the Kickstarter to development and the updates, and they shared everything with us through,
everything. They were proper fans. You could tell these two lads, and you know, I do like them, and I've always I'm a big. I mean, the logo there, the Shabby Geek logo, is made by Red 5 Designs. Gianni made that logo for me, so that's why I'll have always that logo will always mean something to me. I mean, it was nice that it's funny as well because in the back of the book you'll see some of our logos that were in there, and he thanked everybody for it. But it's also nice, it's the index page of everybody that backed it, and you see all your friends in there, and it's things like that you know that mean the world to me, because we have all, I've said it 1,000 times and I'm not going to go soft, but we have all built this together. So to see something like that, and then to acknowledge people like ourselves that backed it, that put ourselves in it, that did it, and you know, that's a really good touch, that, Connor, because the Red 5 Designs book was brilliant. And I saw a thing this morning that they're starting on the second one, aren't they? So
you can, there's actually, if you go to their website, you can put your name in the wish list and your email address, so that you'll get the updates and everything else. And I'll see, can I find it in a minute and share it. But like me and Dave and Si have had the pleasure of meeting these guys at Echo, hanging out with them. They're gentlemen, they're really passionate. And again, that was before the book. I remember going to Echo and Gianni said, do you want to have a look at it? And I said, no, because I wanted to wait and see it. And, you know, when I finally got it in hand, like at least once a week, I'll sit down and flick through that.
Just such nice lads, the way they did it.
I mean, I'm finding something I forgot about, you know, it's beautiful.
They even sent me extra prototype pages of their Return of the Jedi Luke, which is framed on the wall up there. And they sent me the 2 pictures from the book, and I put it up, and I got the red and black, you know, cover sheet of it. And every time they went to an Echo and did one there, they sent me the cover for that. They were just, honestly, you know, they genuinely are nice lads, and I was all for it. You know what I mean? I was, you know, it was lovely to get to know them and lovely to help. No, I've got to choose my words carefully. I had nothing to do with this book, but it was nice that some of us lads went out of our way to say, yeah, come on and we'll talk about it. I think we did really well, didn't it? And Si said the same thing when Si's met them both and said they're just genuinely nice people, both of them. So what a great touch that was, Connor. That's an awesome touch.
I could have carried coming down from upstairs, I'd have done it. But it weighs like more than a paving slab. So.
It's great. You over there, there's a company over there that sells the protector case for it. And I was going to get it over here because I can get it over here, but the thing about it, I think our sign's going to grab it for me, or Andy might have a spare one, because it's all right buying it because they've got a few things for Black Series too, like a torn protector case and that kind of thing.
Oh, yeah,
But
when they're at
shipping.
you see everything just boxed up, and they'll make them up so displayable.
Cool. Yeah,
really are.
yeah. I agree with that. My parents didn't care if there was swearing in films. I watched Running Man, Predator, all of them. My mum wasn't bothered. My grandma was. Yeah, my grandma had an issue with it. I would get a whack. Yeah, exactly right. Yeah. Here we go. I do admire them, not even for trying to get a voice that sounded too close to Bruce Willis for that. I had no idea. He says, brilliant. Ready for the next book? Yeah. Are you gonna? It'd be nice to get them back on. I know Si's asked them if they want to do Tub Thumpers, and I think they've said yes. So I can't wait to get them when Tub Thumpers comes back. But it would just be nice to go through it all again. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm really excited now at the prospect of the next one, and you know, the vehicles and creatures and our play sets and creatures. Is it so? Yeah. And like play sets were something we never really had them. I don't know. I don't remember seeing them in shops, so I don't know whether it was sort of, you know, economic factors or not, that me and my brother, we didn't have play sets growing up or much of them. So it was only much later that I learned about things like the Droid Factory or the Hot Scene. What was the other one? The Kenner Death Star. Only about 10 years ago, I learned that existed. I never knew it existed. So
no.
So still, like all these years later, still learning about, you know, vintage Star Wars. And
it's great. There's so much of it, though, isn't there, to tell you the truth? And you look at other things. It's like the lads do it over here for G.I. Joe. I'm relatively new to the Joe thing. I've been learning about it and buying it over the past couple of years. But I love that. You know, when you find something that you weren't really into as a kid, and as you get older, you're like, wow, this is unbelievable. And the play sets and the vehicles and all that sort of stuff. And I feel like I missed out then. But in a way, I kind of didn't, because I had all the Action Force stuff. And obviously I had, you know, the Star Wars stuff. And I was lucky growing up because I had 3 brothers. So we'd all be into the same thing. So when it's Star Wars for us or a franchise like a He-Man franchise for us, we'd have all of it. You know, my mum would make sure all 4 of us. So it wasn't like we'd get a figure, then we'd have to wait, and then we'd have to get this and that. We always had people to play with and so forth. But yeah, I thought that about the Death Star, because I have this big tub and I opened it and I had Death Star parts in it. And I hadn't a clue what it was. I was like, did I pick this up at a thrift shop or like a yard sale or something? And so I agree with you. I didn't realize, because we had the cardboard one, didn't we? That's what they had in Ireland, right? The cardboard.
Probably. I don't ever remember seeing it. None of my friends had it. You know, growing up, we lived in the States. You'd loads of friends on the street, but then you'd go to someone's house in your class after school and, you know, hang out in their house and play with their toys. So we got exposure to everything, but I don't ever remember seeing the Palatoy Death Star.
No.
What's new to you, DTM? What ever since you've been with us, like, and you've what's been a new thing for you? Like, oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, just seeing what's out there, what other people collect, like BTR Dave, the stuff he finds, you never knew existed, and then you see him out and about, and he just picks up these random James Bond dolls and all the vintage stuff. Scuba, he's another one. Like you've just been saying about the Palatoy Death Star. Never knew it was a thing until I met Scuba.
Yeah.
We didn't have a clue it existed.
Scuba's got a great eye for that. I remember at Joe Fest, he was last year, the year before, he's walking around with this huge box. I mean, he's a big lad himself, so you can tell the size of this box. And it was the Rambo headquarters. It was like this big tower thing with, and I was like, what the France is that? And then Wilhelm Toys. I don't know if you ever heard of Wilhelm Toys.
Yeah, we met him at Joe Fest.
Lovely bloke. He had this massive box. And MASH, the TV show MASH, he had the adventure playset.
There was MASH. I never knew there was MASH toys.
I had no. I remember the figures, but I didn't know there was a playset to go with it. And me and G-Force and DTM, and we were like, what the France is that? You know.
That would have been right up my street as a kid.
It is funny that little things like that. I missed the bean.
When you said Scuba has a great eye for it, immediately I went to DTM's Terminator, and I could just see Scuba walking on Joe Fest with this target hitting all the tables.
Yeah.
But that's an experience. You're walking around with your friends too, because obviously I'm looking for the masters in the heat, but then Dave's looking for these little things that I've never really heard of. These little like plasticky toys like 2.5 inches, and you found, was it the Muppets you found or Gremlins or something?
Gremlins,
telling me about it, and I'm like, that's wow, you know, that's one of the things that I love the experience of when you see your passion of your friends, you know, in their collections, going, oh, I love these, and
that's exactly what I mean. And then this stuff that you forgot even existed, and you see it, one of lads have got it, and you think, spot on.
Yeah.
You know, you remember it, don't you, from when you were a kid straight away.
What's the last thing you bought that somebody else showed? Mine was, I just got that Marvel Legends ROM, you know, the 6-inch one. And simply because I watched Vintage Taste video of the original one, and he restored it and all that, and I was like, ever since I saw that video, I thought, oh, I've got it, and it was there, it was just on there. But what was it for you two? Is there something that you've seen on somebody else's? I have to get that.
Yeah, there's a lot like that. Watching YouTube is very expensive. Yeah, it can. Yeah, it costs not only money, relationship arguments, and lives. So,
but I lie to myself and say I can take or leave Black Series, and then you'll see a video on one that someone's got, and you know, I always say I'm original trilogy only, but someone will get a version of Obi-Wan Kenobi from the prequels, and I have to get my hands on that.
That's exactly how I feel.
Sometimes it's bloody dangerous, isn't it, watching everybody else, and you're like, oh, well, maybe I should start another. I put my foot down because our side was showing those Street Fighter figures. Oh, Shabby, look at these. And they are superb, but luckily, where me and G-Force are in North Carolina, I didn't really see them in Target in Walmart, so I was all right, like out of sight, out of mind. But they're starting to get them in, and I'm like, do we really need to start?
Just get one. Just get one.
Yeah.
Jonathan says, yeah, Connor, I don't recall seeing any play sets in shops over there. The only ones I knew of were from the US comics, like the version of the Death Star and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I just don't remember.
Interesting. Connor, never saw the Death Star when I was a kid. All my friends was the same, never had the Death Star as well. Yeah. I don't think it was ever sold the plasticky big one, was it, over there?
No, but even the Palatoy one,
yeah,
there was always a friend or a classmate that had something. Like, there's not a lot of toys out there that we didn't play with. We mightn't have owned them, you know, we mightn't have had one in their house with your brothers or whatever else, but then you got the experience in someone else's house. Cheers, Mr. B.
Look at that, you recently got the anti-fighter ones. What custom ones, Mr. B? That sounds awesome, man.
That's it.
Same with the shuttle, never saw it. It was always until Baldry got me one a couple of years back. It was always that for me, and that was the toy for me. That every time I go out, I'd always say, because of our business, we're always in estate sales, yard sales, this, that, you know, to get the furniture, whatever. And I said it for years, lads. Today's the day I find one. Today's the day I'll come across, and I never came across it ever. You know.
I remember a friend of mine had that when I was a kid, and it looked massive then, but even now it still looks enormous. The show. Yeah,
it's brilliant. And it's the same mold. It's the 2002 one that is right there where my finger is, and it's the same mold as the old one. But so I was in love. I was just thought, wow, that's it for me. I'm surprised Shabby hasn't got a MASH figure. He's wearing a dress. I don't wear dresses. It might be hard to believe. I actually don't. They really screwed up on the shipping for that G-Force. Could have been sent from China as it's killed buying if you're outside the US. Do you have issues with that? Is there things that you find out? It's like I just said, I just got that ROM figure, and I think it was Kieran or Win, one of them, that wrote, Shabby, we're not getting that till May, June. I was like, wow, really? So do you have issues like that yourselves, where there's certain things you think, oh, I can't get over?
Yeah, more so now than we used to have, but yeah.
Hasbro Pulse has been the scourge of the Irish collector.
Why do you think that is? Why do you think that is?
Well,
because we're not talking third world countries, are we? We're talking Ireland and the UK.
So it's something that fascinates me. Exclusives are just accepted in America. You know, they'll announce a wave, and it's always fascinated me. They'll announce a wave of 5 figures. 3 are going to retail stores. This one is a game exclusive. This one is an Amazon exclusive. People are, oh, great, it's exclusive. You're paying 3 sets of shipping.
Yeah.
Unless you go and find, but that's not always possible. So you're footing the bill for them to have an exclusive. And then what happened was, don't blame me, Chris. Then what happened was they brought Hasbro Pulse into the UK and made the G.I. Joe line a Hasbro Pulse exclusive only.
Yes, sir.
And then the year later they rolled out Hasbro Pulse EU and did the same. And I think it's really damaged the hobby for G.I. Joe because they're months behind getting the stuff in. So like I can order stuff from the UK or from America to get it quicker, but then I'm paying more for it. Or what's happening then is you kind of lose interest. Or Chris, I think there's been 2 videos that Chris has done, Mod Extra, that I had the figure on pre-order, and the Raptor was one of them. Chris, wasn't it? What was the other one? Road Pig, and what a great figure. But I saw Chris's review and I just went, do I really need that? It made me second guess, so I cancelled my pre-orders. And
it's a shame.
It's just that, so it just like, I mean, go back to the credit collection. You know, this was so hard to get.
Weird.
$6 at Ollie's, but for me it was a scramble. So
the funniest thing for me was always, I always go back to the sail barge. How that wasn't for everybody when it first came out was unbelievable. That was, especially a country like the island of UK, which is just, I would say, just as much part of Star Wars as the United States is. I mean, these are countries that loved it, and Australia and stuff, and it was never available. I was just like, wow. And then you hear people forking out money to get it, you know.
Is that something that, and I could be way off, could just be my hot mental take, right? But since Disney took over Star Wars is an American property, where it was always a global property. It was made in the UK, filmed in Tunisia or whatever. You know, like, I mean, it was always a global property, and you know, they brought in all their, you know, their politics into the storytelling and everything else. It's just lads, we all own it. We all own, you know, Star Wars. It belongs to us all. We all grew up with it. Calm down and share it out.
I 100% blame Connor for my classified. Miriam says the only place that my younger brother had was the Hoth one. The Hoth one with the white with the bits that came up and stuff. That was a good one, Miriam. Yeah,
that was a strange one because it was Imperial playset when it was the Rebels that were. But I don't even remember that one growing up.
So he's saying about those helmets. Mr. B says that Super Awesome also got one. I guess they are custom but on mass production. Wow. Ooh. Well, brilliant. We're up to number 3, boys. Right, Connor, so we'll start with you for number 3. What's number 3, pal?
Well, we were talking to G.I. Joe, and I love G.I. Joe. So I thought for number 3, I would talk about the brain freeze, the retro collection. And so I'm a big G.I. Joe.
That's what I've been buying, the retro collection ones. I came off the classified and went for them. Yeah,
because they're just so close to the original figures. So what I done was I said I grabbed wrecking the place. I grabbed a couple of examples. So, you know, if you take your vintage Beachhead and then as a modern collector to get a 6-inch version. Looking just like your vintage figure. You know, I know there's vintage collectors out there. I love the modern updated look of a figure, extra articulation, extra accessories, extra taps. Same as well. Then, you know, you had your simple Cobra Trooper growing up. Oh, shook his head, right? Then, you know, then they gave us this Cobra Trooper. Which, again, looks like the original figure. And the other example that I had was. And this was always an amazing figure. And again, just that modern one, a much bigger version of it. So these examples that I have are these 3 figures is an example of the retro collection. I'm really enjoying this. All these troopers I've bought doubles of. But I might be heard with the missus. I better be quiet. I've only bought one of each of these. But you know, they used to be flimsy cards. There's a good card stock in it now. You get the pictures like you used to get. I know it's only it gives me such great callbacks to holding this. I know it's a 6-inch version. I know it's not the same as the vintage, but it hits the nostalgia button for me. You know, like, I mean, the Cobra the Enemy. You know, it does that little tag on it. So
I'll tell you what it was for me, that, because what happened was when G.I. Joe Classified first came out, I think you've heard this story before, I was like, brilliant. This now gives me an opportunity to see what all the fury is about G.I. Joe and start collecting myself. But what's happening is I'm buying figures I've never heard of. Oh, this is awesome. Who is it? Do you know what I mean? And I was spending a lot, like the $25, $26 over here, so I'm spending the money on him. And then I thought, you know what? I'm going to watch. Everyone talks about Scuba and Jeff Barker, and they're always talking about the cartoon Shabby. So I did it. So I went to bed at night and I'd watched 3 or 4 episodes, and I watched them all, every 80s cartoon. And then when the retro line came out, they looked exactly what they looked like and I thought, now I know these. Now I know the characters and so forth. So I went straight down that retro line instead of. I mean, I'll still pick the classified up, but not as much as I do those retro ones. So.
Yeah, again, I've kind of been coming and going from the classified line, the regular line, but just these ones, I've just enjoyed getting them, having them, collecting them, buying them, enjoying them, playing with them.
We don't collect, Connie, you're not a collector.
So that's right. These have to come off the card at some stage.
No, absolutely brilliant. Connor, your mic's got a little bit.
Is it mine? Is it?
Let's have a listen.
Is it fixed? Are we back?
Yeah, it's fixed. Perfect.
I don't know what happened there.
Okay, you just knocked it, that's all. No, you sound perfect now, mate. Right. DTM, what's your number 3?
Well, it's movie based. I'm sorry.
No, it's your number 3.
Yeah. Here we've got Peter Weller, Alex Murphy, RoboCop. This is the NECA figure. This, all his arms have been blasted off. He looks in excruciating pain.
It's a great look, though, isn't it?
The only thing, when there's no bullet hole in back head, in that scene in RoboCop, you see all this. They didn't put it on. So other than that, though, I'm thinking.
It reminds me of that Revenge of the Sith figure when you got Anakin all burnt. I still got it. You know what I mean? It's like he's like, why did they make a figure of this? But it's cool.
Yeah, so I've got a lot of RoboCop stuff, and this is, I think, like Si keeps saying when I see him, have you ever done a top 5 figures of what you got last year? And I reckon if I did do one, this would be number 1 because
wow,
you can pose it.
That's beautiful.
The different chest plates, different heads. Obviously, his arm. It comes with another arm for that one.
I suppose figures like that as well would be great if you're into toy photography because that's superb, isn't it? You've got it like that now. You know what I mean? So,
like I say, I'm thinking of getting another one just so I can display it without him a bloody mess.
Oh, so it comes out as Murphy.
He's immaculate. He's got the helmet. Remember, he has a helmet on as well in the film.
Yeah.
One of those. Yeah, so really like that. It's a NECA as well. I always buy NECA.
I've recently got into it. G-Force sent me the one from A Christmas Story, and then I bought the couple of Dungeons and Dragons ones, the War Duke and the Lionheart, whatever.
They were nice.
And then I got the RoboCop one, and the RoboCop one's really nice. But I've never taken them out of the box, Dave, and this is something tragic because I had with me not buying NECA, I had somebody say, Shabby, you don't want to take it out of the box because it's great.
And I've had a couple of casualties. I bought an ET figure. Well, that excited to get it open, then I snapped its arm off as soon as I took it out of the box. Put a bit of glue and, a bit
didn't
of
really bother you for that. I saw the manufacturers, says Chris. McFarlane DC has loads of figs we struggle to get over here. NECA will never release, and the D&D. I found them. I found them all right. The D&D ones I got pretty cool. It's still, what's that called? There's tons of actors from your neck of the woods, right? While they were saying different tactics now, not offering full waves, etc., they're driving collectors away. Are you a fan of NECA, Connor? You like NECA stuff?
I've no NECA. I don't like some of it's cool. I remember looking at the Back to the Future stuff there about 3 or 4 years ago. I remember I had Doc and Marty in hand, but I think because it's 7-inch, I always caved on the scale. But when it comes to paint apps, there are no better figures than NECA. They look stunning. They do look stunning. And
nice.
Dave had in hand there now of more. And you're showing that poor guy with all the bullet holes in him. And all I can think of, his boss made him go back to work the following week. But anyway,
It was the best story in the world for me, Nick, because I always ask my wife, God, listen, I'm going to sound like a simpy, but we all do. I've been married 22 years. Can I spend $25 on a fig every time we go out? Can I spend $25 on a black series? Oh, yeah, go on, you can do what you want. Anyway, we got into GameStop and had found the is it Lionheart or Strongheart from D&D? And I've opened the box and oh, wow, this is amazing and so forth. Then all of a sudden she turns around and goes, I'll buy it for you. I went, really? I think she must have thought it was. The guy said with tax it was $42. I've never seen a look. I wish I had my camera just to take a picture of my wife's face. She was like, "What?" Oh, brilliant!
Look around over there, you can get a good one at a good price. But...
Yeah, they are nice though. I've got to admit, I was tempted years ago with the Back to the Future ones. They looked really good.
If I could get to it now, I'd bring some down. They're all up there, and put a Back to the Future display up there. They're all up there.
They were really, and the other one I was really tempted of was the Defenders of the Earth. That when they did,
yes, the Flash Gordon and the Minion gorgeous.
Yeah, they look really cool too. But I think the one I'm after now is Necker. It's the Pee Wee one that I think GeForce found it in Target. So I've been to about 3 Targets this weekend, can't find it, but I'll find it. But they do nice stuff. GeForce says, I really despise the divide between modern and vintage collectors. Don't understand why you can't like both. I didn't think would you say there was a divide? I wouldn't think there was a.
What do
you think to that? No, I don't think there's a. I don't know. I mean, I suppose it's on the person, innit? I wouldn't put down another one. So if I collect modern, I'm not going to put down vintage or vice versa. I just pick up whatever.
Go back to what we said at the start. We all do it different. I think everybody we know does it a little bit differently. So
Yeah, I agree.
I dance to my tune, baby.
Gup says, I know nothing about G.I. Joe, but are the retro collections of them just 6-inch, not 3.75?
Yeah, 6-inch each, yeah. So they're for scale. So that's the original. I'm starting covering his head so you can see.
Right.
Brilliant.
So, and I just love the bigger scale. I just really enjoyed the bigger scale of these modern figures.
I like them. It put me off 3.75, really. All my Star Wars, like I said, tubs away in boxes. It's mostly 6-inch now, I do.
Yeah.
I know Super 7 are doing the O-Ring Joes, aren't they? And they'll be at Joe Fest, so I'll probably take a picture of that and show you them. You know what I mean? So I know
because I wasn't that gone on them, and then it was Scuba sold because he was saying, yeah, but they're doing kind of some obscure characters that we didn't get. So I know he's excited to get a couple of them. So I think when a company can do that and add to an existing line, it's always something to get excited about.
Yeah.
No. Classified, he's also 6-inch, retro 6-inch gups. They've stuck with both of them. I think that have they give the 3/4 inch license to Super 7 then? Because they started off making them, didn't they? Me and GeForce were finding them the 3.75 ones and all that, and then they stopped doing them.
Out of it. Didn't back the line. I don't think it was selling great for them, so they subbed it over to Super 7.
That shot up Murphy figure is legitimate. It is cool. It is a cool figure. And it's like I said, it's not just like a horror kind of thing. It's an iconic scene, that, isn't it? It's something we always all remember.
They're really good at doing the horror figures. I mean, they've done loads. Maybe Leatherface. I think they've just done Hammer horror ones now with Vincent Price, Christopher Lee, and all that.
They are cool. I've seen all the Halloween ones they do, Dave. You know, the kids on they've got them everywhere. They're really cool figures.
Look at Ben Cooper. Is it Ben Cooper Kids? Or
Ben Cooper, that's what it is. It's a big thing over here. The Ben Cooper outfit.
I almost bought one, to be honest. But
did we have it over there? Did we have Ben Cooper in Ireland? I can't remember.
Getting a bed sheet and cutting holes in it.
I'll never forget. So
it was a black bag for us.
So my sister-in-law lives in a nice subdivision over here. And she said, when we first came over, she said, to all the kids, because she's got 5 kids, we've got 4, and they're all roughly the same age. There's a year and a half between all of them. Do you know what I mean? And so we said, yeah, all right, we'll go. I have never, ever seen Halloween like it. And it's funny because we all watch the E.T. movies and all of them, when they're all like, Halloween's a big deal over here. To us, it was big, but the Americans, it's on another scale. It is on another scale. And they take these huge bags out, lads. And I tell you what, how these kids aren't fat and have no teeth. It's just, but It's like, you know, where we're from. Some of the houses will do it, some of them won't. Oh, forget it, the lights off or whatever. Over here, my word, I've never.
It's like that here. Halloween is massive here. It's huge.
Is it?
And yeah, it goes around. But I loved it as a kid. But what I enjoyed as a dad when you get home with the kids, there's daddy tax. So you dip the hand in and make sure, you know, I automatically got all the bounties, all the Twix. They came to me.
I shouldn't really like it, but I suppose being a father of four, I like those videos where the kids will come down the next day and the mum's down, oh, we've eaten it all. And they're like, they're crying and all that. You filmed it, tight gets, you know, they haven't, but they're like, oh, no, I'm sorry. We got hungry last night. So Nicole's here. Hi, Nicole. Good old Dario's here. Hi, biker. Adam says, has everyone seen that ramen I'm making the Airwolf helicopter? Talk about sexual stuff. Retro Blasting did what showed a custom one years ago, and that looked superb. It looked absolutely. I don't know whatever happened to that. I don't know whether, you know, if the guy made it or if he didn't. But I've always thought that an Airwolf helicopter would be cool for 6-inch.
Yeah, I'd like the diecast one that they brought out in the 80s, wasn't it? I think it was Ertel, wasn't it? Ertel. Can't remember.
Ertel. Yeah, I remember the Ertel ones. Yeah,
I them sometimes on eBay, and they do go for quite a bit of money. But I'll find one of them.
Yeah, most of my Pennywise figures are neck, and they stay in the box. Yeah, because Kat likes the horror ones, doesn't she? So she collects them and so forth.
The Pennywise ones are good. Yeah.
You ever bought anything though yourselves? Talking about our collections, or where you thought, I can't take this out of the box. I can't. Do you know? Has anything ever come up? Because I know you two, as soon as you get it, you rip it open. It's, you know, is there anything you've had to think twice about opening?
Well, controversially, I always wanted a modern set of Secret Wars figures.
Yeah,
and I was taking my time. I got a brown Wolverine or a brown suit of Wolverine, and eventually they brought out a Doctor Doom figure I really like, so I went and got it. And Jonathan has never forgiven me, because it's still in a box in the attic. I just didn't have the heart to take it off.
It's funny. Yeah,
and actually, Dave got me then the comic last year on it's the cover of Doctor Doom with the Secret Wars. So that even made me double down more than I had the comic beside the figure.
What about you, Dave? Anything there?
Yeah, there's a couple of bits. The things the alien figure about Joe Fest, I've kept that boxed. I've got a Last Action Hero Arnold Schwarzenegger figure. That's still here.
I know it's just some things. It's like in the Masters. I always open the Masters straight away. But over recent past time, I'm like the Club Grey School ones. So you have to sign this. I haven't opened them, and I'm like,
nicely package them though. It's a bit.
There's one coming to Hurricane Hordak comes tomorrow. I got a message for that today, and I've really thoroughly enjoyed collecting it. Did any of you pick up the Marvel Legends retro collection figures? They were 3.75. Hi, Carol. Nice to see you, pal.
No, they were nice on the card, but just the 5 POA thing wasn't really my bag, so I skipped on them.
The only thing out about a water moccasin and the swamp skier for 6 inches is ever the complete range of 85 Cobra vehicles.
Mm-hmm.
You agree with that? There were loads of Jessica. Who's Jessica Fletcher? Oh, yeah, I've seen them. From a Murder, She Wrote. Yeah, I've seen them. There's 2 versions in there as well. There's that one that's done in like Tiny Terrors or Tiny Toons thing. In that one too. Right, well, we're getting to the end, boys. Let's go for number 2. So, number 2, DTM, what's your number 2, pal?
Before I show them, these
can I just say, I've loved this tonight. You two have been brilliant on this. Really interesting. Thank you so much. Yeah, I've really enjoyed it.
Right, so these aren't the originals. These are the
awesome. Yeah.
Now these are the was it a retro collection? Or,
retro collection,
re-release that they did. But they're just the same, aren't they? They look just
exactly the same. Yeah.
Bang on.
Anything the better because
they're cleaner.
They're a bit more less likely to snap. With the
the thing is, Dave, you can find them, but you're talking hundreds if you get like what Conor just said without the one being snapped or anything else. Do you know what I mean? So
this line always sort of like a bit nostalgic because of my brothers. A similar thing happened with A-Team figures. My dad used to work away a lot, and he brought back as an A-Team figure back when we were kids. Yeah. So like your brother, you were like playing with your brothers when you were kids. Same thing happened again with Real Ghostbusters, but I took it upon myself to claim them all as mine. So I've always been a fan of Ghostbusters from when first film came out. So
how much were they over there when they first came out? Them, Dave? How much were they? Were $14.99, which I thought was a steal.
I pre-ordered them, so I don't know. I pre-ordered them all as one thing, and they all came together. Yeah. So I can't remember what I paid for them, to be honest. But,
are you not missing anything out of that line, are you?
No, not this line, no.
Right.
But yeah, purely for nostalgia reasons, I've just enjoyed playtime.
I loved it, and they kept the card the same as well. And there's a thing about the card I wrote to Luke about it and said, because at the start of the wave, when they started doing these, they wrote who you're going to call on it, right? And then they have to take it off. And I said to Luke, if you ever see ones with who you're going to call on it, keep up, don't open them ones because they're going to be rare. Apparently, they didn't get the license for this time around to write who you're going to call on it, but they started doing it and then they had to take it off. So if you ever see one with who you're going to call on,
I'll have to check my card backs.
Yeah.
But yeah, I bought the Ecto one as well when they re-released that. Don't have the slime, but I got the Stay Puff. Yeah, so I went all in on the.
Did you get the toilet? The toilet thing.
The toilet, yeah.
And did you get the Ecto one? Little ghost, do they? They come with a little ghost.
Exactly the same packaging, exactly the same everything.
I think this came with Peter Venkman.
Oh yes.
I hope they carry on. They did the fright features, and I got them. They were the recently ones.
I just needed one of those, and then I've got the whole.
Who do you need?
Winston.
I don't believe it. All right, okay. I'll have a look out because they're in Ollie's now at $3.99. If I get one, I'll give it to Si to bring home with him. So, yeah, so I'll have a look at that.
Real Ghostbusters for me, just it's all like reminds me of good times with my brothers that we don't have anymore. So
did you ever have the Playhouse, the Firehouse as a kid?
No, I never did.
No, I don't think we did.
I seen one at the toy fair the other week. I think they wanted 90 quid for it. And it was near enough complete, but it was just the idea of trying to get it home on a train.
Yeah. Were you ever into them, Connor? Was Real Ghostbusters something you liked as a kid?
No, I think so. I was Star Wars, Action Force, Transformers, Masters of the Universe. Then there was kind of an age gap. There's about 4 years or 5 years between me and my brother, and then my younger brother and sister. So I remember my younger brother having Turtles. He had a couple of Ghostbusters. He was big into the LJN wrestlers. That was kind of his thing, Turtles. So I remember when Mask came out, I think I only ever had Condor because we were flat broke. So toys were hard to come by at that stage. So we went from being spoiled to having nothing. But so my younger brother definitely had a couple of those Ghostbusters. I remember them in the house, but I think I was just aged out slightly.
Yeah.
But it came along.
They were brilliant. And what it was for me, I remember seeing the Ecto one. It's exactly the same. And again, that's hard to find the vintage one, not yellowed and all that sort of stuff. So when it was only $39.90, $40. I thought
the book at the back, everything's exactly the same as it was.
Yeah,
brilliant. Jonathan says, I honestly was expecting Dave's next figure to be shown to be covered in blood and bullet holes for some reason. What's your number 2? Cons.
So there's a story.
Right. Great.
So I'm going to show my number 2, but I shouldn't have this. Okay. And my number 2, and I honestly treasure this. I really do treasure this. And it's this piece of art from
I wish Simon would tell the truth and let everybody know I drew that. I wish he,
So this was a giveaway on your channel.
Yeah.
And I was a mouthpiece for weeks saying, I'm winning that. That's mine. Let's go my name. I was a pure mouthpiece. I didn't know. And lo and behold, I think I got up to the last few on the spinny wheel and I got knocked out. And our good friend Dean Geekstrong won it.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. Yeah. He won it.
Geekstrong just so kind messaged Si and said, Si, give it to Connor. I think he just wanted to shut me up. So you phoned me and said, come here, listen, Dean, I didn't believe you at first. I thought you, because I just think it's astonishing. So that's number 2 for me because Si's really generous with his talent.
Very, always has been. Since we were kids, always. If Si had 50p, he'd give you 51p. He's always been that bloke. Always.
Because, like, I mean, it's not. That's time. That's someone's time.
Yeah.
It took someone years to develop that talent and master it, and then takes them time to sit down and do it and perfect. And you know, an artist, they're never happy. It's never right. It's never complete. So it probably takes twice as long as we think it does anyway. And so I know Cy did send me a beautiful piece with me in an X-Wing thing, but
oh yeah, that's an awesome picture.
And I was torn. I didn't know which one to show for. I didn't want to pull the two of them off the wall, but this one, like I said, it's big, it's spectacular. I remember being just blown away by it, and then, like I said,
nice one, right?
And Dino generously said, "Send it to Conor." So this is
he's always been like that, though, and I've got to give our side credit for that, because he takes time out, like you just said, on my channel. And he'll turn around and go, well, Shabby, let me give something away for you. This is his job. You know, this is what he does for a living. And for him to,
this arrived like this, ready to go on the wall.
It's
I just blown away. So there's not a day that goes by that I don't look or stare at this and appreciate it. It's size art. I kind of love and appreciate that. Geek Strong's Dino's generosity. It's just so much in this that it really is special to me. So number 2 for me is the Killing Joke Joker.
Good job,
awesome, man. That is awesome.
You have to put it back in the bloody wall. But anyway,
there you go. Nice one, Conor, says our side. Friends helping pace. What a beautiful. He's always. I've always admired him for it. He did me a huge one. I left it in England, and it kills me every time. That Biker Scout one he gave you lot. You know, he's giving out. And he did one in Endor, and it was a long widescreen one. It was huge, and he was holding a sniper rifle, and I loved this picture. And as I only had a small, I had a nice house in England, but my toy room was only small. My wife wasn't letting me having anything else. So it's like the broom cupboard, if you will. And it looked massive in there because of how small the room was in this huge picture. So, but he's always been like that, you know. I like it when you watch people's live streams, lads, and you'll see a piece of our size artwork in the corner. You know what I mean?
YouTube is scattered with it now. Again, generosity. You know, he's been so kind. Generous.
He's a lovely bloke. He's not surprising, you know. It's funny because you lot, when you first meet him or whatever, and you'll all message me and say, "Oh, Shabby, what a nice lad our size." I'm not shocked by it. He's one of those fellas. Do you know what I mean? He's always been like that our size. So he's different to me. Piss him off, he's got to tell you. But he's a lovely. I love him to pieces. He's a lovely bloke. I've looked upon that art with envy when you've had it behind you on your camera, Conor. Yeah, he's a no problem size. Awesome for that. DTM, did I do your number 2? I'm talking about
yeah, you did, yeah.
Right, okay. So let me just get down there and we'll go to number 1s. And I've loved this. What a great show. I'm happy we did this. I really am. Brian's here. Hi, Brian. Size definitely has an artist side. You know, we're a creative family in a way. Like my dad was a professional musician. We do the pop culture furniture. You know, I was into the suits before this, making suits and doing the suits, whatever. My wife's always been so I've been surrounded. I'm quite lucky. I've been surrounded by creativity. But I've also noticed, I've said this a few times on CSR, we're also surrounded in our community. There's people that make customs and, you know what I mean, do the photography and all that.
Oh, yeah.
It's not just collecting. Do you not think, lads? People actually bring something here, don't they? You know, and I admire anything like that.
As you said, customs. I know G-Force has made a couple of pieces that are just mind-blowing. And, there's lots of talent out there.
Mr. B, our Keith, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Keith Knight, his playability blows me away what he does.
What Keith has done, some of Keith's customs are just fascinating.
He made a Robocop, didn't he, Keith?
Yeah, playing with the Robocop.
Yeah, he did. Yeah. He made me his 7 figure, and on it he's put the Shabby Geek logo on it. I was blown away. I thought that is brilliant, Keith. Brilliant. Size of top for he's a lovely fella, Keith. He is. I'm going to sound biased, but I you know, he's just one of those fellas. It's like, I know in a way he's like an ambassador for me, because I'm not going to come to England anytime soon. And, you know, and I know when people meet him and you go to these conventions, I'm proud of that. Like I am with all the lads. I'm thinking, when there's someone new in our community, I know how they're going to be treated. Do you know what I mean? It makes it. Yeah, and it's like, well, when you came over here, DTM, and you met Super Awesome and G-Force, and well, you'd already met Scuba, but you don't feel any different. Everyone's just dead welcoming, aren't they?
Every one of them people last year at Joe Fest said, "What's Simon like?"
Oh, so that's why nobody talks to you anymore, because
every single one of them thought, "Yeah, well, I'm here."
The funniest thing you said, and I think you won't mind me saying it, is when you're Ellen. I've never laughed like this, probably since Smith Lord's comment on Stu's last year, but we were sat in the pub, and Helen it was hot. It's Georgia in June, so you can imagine the weather, right? She's got this stripy dress on, and she goes to DTM, get me a drink. And he goes, bloody hell, he says, you don't know to be like that because you dress like Beetlejuice. I nearly fell off my chair. I've never laughed so hard in my life. I thought it was so funny. Dress like Beetlejuice.
Helen is a ticket. I know I sing Dave's praises, but Helen and Dave, they're so nice to spend time. But Helen is a ticket, real ticket. Great.
Size artwork makes up for his magic. What do you mean makes up for his magic's? How we got Claire to dress as Spider-Man? I was like, how did you pull that off, Si? That joke awesome at his artwork. Howard Reynolds says, Si's one top bloke wears his art on his sleeve and would give you. He would, yeah. If you needed it, please call him. Please to call him a pal. That's a really nice. Yeah, he's done a lot for me over the years, and I don't think I can ever tell him what he means to me, really. And I love doing tub thumpers with him. I do. He's just brilliant. Do you know what I mean? And one of the nicest things is everybody gets to know this. I know. You know, like I've got to give him credit, man. The question of the week, God knows what he's going to ask, and I always say to him, "Don't tell me until we're on." Do you know what I mean? And sometimes I think, where the fuck has he pulled that for? Oh, he's what is it? He's magic. And I remember it. Here's a behind the things for you.
He's asking him where that cigarette went because that thing disappeared. I've watched it back again and again, and it just vanishes.
He phones me up and he's elated. And he's singing it. Oh, he'd found a magic kit. But the funniest thing was how happy he was that he'd got this magic. It was like a 499 kids thing, and it's like he'd found the holy grail. Do you know what I mean? It's like, magic and all, absolutely brilliant. Oh, let's have a look. Shabby, that PM Everton figure will be. Oh well, yeah, I appreciate that. It's little things like that, though, isn't it? This is what so it's a segue really to what we're talking about at the start. It's hard to pick a top five, isn't it? Because we could easily do things on gifts or things on this or things on that, you know.
And while I've been sat here watching Conor pour all this stuff out, I've been thinking, why did I do that for now? Why did I do
I know. I'm the same because there's a couple of figures I would have liked to have done, like individual figures, and one close one. I was going to do my Steve Nicol figure that I absolutely love. The old Tommy one from when we were kids. Just it was hard to pick five. It really was.
Is that the one that had the green platform and always in a striking? Yeah. Si's got a bag full of him. He's got Maradona in there and his Napoli kit and all that sort of stuff.
Oh, wow.
I think Steve Nichol's in there. I used to love them. Brilliant figures. Yeah,
I love Steve Nicol. I adored him.
He does ESPN over here.
But see, I watch a lot of the times. I'll watch my Premier League on the American channels or the Australian. Just clear reception, folks. There's no other reason.
We'll edit that bit out. Don't worry. Agreed, Jason. Great bunch of lads and lasses. We all know how to party. Yeah, I found a magic kit in Ross and wanted to get his side, but he said it was shy. Absolutely brilliant. Well, we've done our honourable mentions. We've done our top fours. Now we've got time for number one. So, Connor, what is your number one in your collection?
Okay. I'm showing two, but
hang on, let me change title to video.
Number one, Palatoy X-Wing Fighter. Just no-brainer. Best toy that was ever made. This brought me so much pleasure as a kid. I loved it. Came everywhere with me. I only found out in later life. My mother picked up the X-Wing and Argus on the trip to Liverpool. So my mother and her sisters used to go to Liverpool on a shopping spree for Santa Claus. We only found out years later. but she couldn't get this figure.
The X-Wing one.
And she was ringing around trying to find out. Back in the old days, pulling out the phone book, and eventually her cousin down in County Cork rang her and said, Katrina, they've got one in stock. Will I buy it for you? And she said, yeah. So my mom's cousin went down to the shop, bought the figure, stuck it in an envelope, and posted it up to Dublin. So this was the first figure I ever received in the post. Little did I know.
Nice.
They were going to be coming constantly in my 40s. But anyway, so the X-Wing fighter was just...
That's really clean as well, that X-Wing. It looks awesome.
Missing a cannon at the moment. I can't bloody... Anyway, I should have got one at Echo. I know it's upstairs. But yeah, I know, look, it was only a simple little thing, but it's just having the little play functions on it. It was such an amazing toy, and it was my favorite toy as a kid. But then later on, and I suppose this is where people say, oh, do you remember where you start kind of collecting? I was too old for this. I shouldn't have bought this. But when the Power of the Force one came out, it was the same mold.
Yeah.
But the stickers were better. The paint was better. The details were better. So I ran out and got this one. Huh?
Same mold from the other one you just shown.
Yeah. It was the exact same.
Cool.
So,
brilliant.
This of course had the 5 red stripes. So I ran out and bought this one, and Chris Mod Extra does live streams on Tuesdays, and I constantly take over his live streams, demanding that we get a Black Series X-Wing.
I don't know why they don't. That Snow Speeder one was fantastic. Do you know what I mean?
I would love, and people say, oh, it'd be too big. Like, they've given us the Dragonfly. That's got to be the same,
The Rattler's got to be bigger in it, hasn't it? The Rattler from G.I. Joe's got to be classified one.
I'm going to Hasbro. This is my sales pitch, right? I know it's long, but you can package the wings underneath it. They'll fit in. It'll be easy to package. Give us a Black Series X-Wing fighter. Just please, that was for me.
I can't disagree. Yeah, I can't disagree with that number one.
Literally, came everywhere with me. It was just my favorite toy growing up, and even. It was simple, but that's where Palatoy did so well. They gave us simple toys, but your imagination filled in the gaps. And my front garden was Endor, the back garden of the sandpit. That was Tatooine. If it snowed, I was in hot. I spent a lot of time in my grandmother's house. I would literally be sitting in the back seat of my dad's car getting driven out with that on my lap. It came everywhere with me.
Yeah.
So when it comes to my number one all-time favorite toy, it's the Palatoy X-Wing fighter. It's
funny you should say that about the Palatoy one, because when I came away, it was the first time I'd seen the American ones, with the plastic on the back and the light in the front and that kind of thing, So I always remember the sticker. The engine was a stick on the Palatoy X-Wing, wasn't it? In the back of it?
Just a sticker, yeah.
Yeah, brilliant. Absolutely, but great number one, that Connor. Great one. Right, DTM, what's your number one, Bubba?
Well, not to copy Connor, it's not an X-Wing, don't worry. Story you said about having something that he took everywhere with him when he was a kid. Everyone knows this story probably by now, but mine were the this isn't the one I had as a kid. That disappeared years and years ago. But Helen knew that I wanted one, and she found one on eBay, and it's got the seating area.
I don't think I ever had that, ever. I'm not sure.
Like Connor was saying with the X-Wing, I took this everywhere. They want anywhere I went when I didn't say that.
Look at that.
It's very sticky. I think it's plastic.
It's in good nick though, isn't it?
Yeah. Even the boots are
it's holding the silver.
Yeah.
And even the egg, again, a simple mold, but if you look, all the little details on the seat, the chair, there's buttons and knobs and twists.
Yeah, I think Mattel made it. Well, I know Mattel made it. I don't know. Yeah, I've still got the original box it came in and everything. Obviously, it had to come off card because I just wanted to feel it again. And so that's.
So what is it about that? What I mean, look behind you. There is hundreds of stuff you could. So what is it about this one that made you go? You know what?
because I watched the show when I was a kid, and I didn't really understand it. A lot of it had adult humour in it, and I wish I could remember. No one can. I've asked my sister, I've asked my brother. They can't remember who bought it or where it came from. But I'm hoping that it was my nan, because my mum never bought me anything. Let's be honest. But I'm hoping my nan bought it, because that's even more of a connection to my childhood, because I've spent a lot of time at my nan's with this.
Yeah.
Not this, but with the same thing, playing in a back garden and, making a house out of books so Mark could live in it, that kind of thing. So that's my number one, the Mark and Mindy egg.
It was weird you to say that, because my mum, our dad left us when we were kids. So my mum worked really hard. And so we were at my grandma's because my mum was still at work. So when we'd finished school, we were at my grandma's. The reason I'm saying that is because there's toys I remember as a kid from her house. Like the Brave Star was at my grandma's. The Turtle was at my grandma's. The wrestling was at my grandma's, because we played with them after school at her house. Do you have anything like that, Conor, as well? Like what DTM and myself have just said?
Yeah, so like that, I was the eldest grandchild, so I was probably a little bit spoiled, but my granddad walked around the corner from where we lived, and he was the local chemist. He owned the pharmacy, so my dad would walk around on a Friday and nag, please can I go with them? Please can I go with? So I'd get in his car on a Friday evening, drive out and spend the whole weekend at me nana's house, and like that I'd have all my nana's toys, the toys that I'd keep. So she'd buy me so I duplicate figures, because I might get a couple of Star Wars figures for my birthday, but then she'd go and buy me another couple. So I had a couple of Jabba figures in me nana's, but I had them at home as well. But I always remember, like, I'd go out and we'd have dinner, and then my granddad would go inside, he'd stick on the TV, and I like that's where I watch every James Bond film, every World War II film, every I watch, beside these two armchairs with a table in the middle where we'd have a glass of orange or whatever else. And
it's funny, that, isn't it? Yeah. It's
the next day, I'd get me toys and I'd recreate whatever film we were watching. So that's where that association for toys, recreation, imagination stems from for me, and I go back to it. So I felt like you guys, my nana was a big influence on my toy collecting life, and
yeah, same here. Yeah.
Funny, innit? I tell you, even though we're all from different areas and different backgrounds, we all roughly have a similar story, all of us. I mean, brilliant. That we all found each other, and that's superb. But anyway, there you have it. There is Conor's and our DTM's top 5. Brilliant. I've loved it. So let's just get back to the chat before we go.
Thank you for that. That was awesome. I enjoyed that.
Great stories. I mean, brilliant stories. Loved it. Absolutely loved it.
Different variety of stuff as well. It wasn't all
really everything from helmets to Twin Peaks. Do you know what I mean? I love all this sort of stuff. Picking a top 10 for what you picked over a year is hard enough. An overall top 5 of your collection must be a proper brain burner. It's hard for me to do that. I always just think that when I used to make the videos, I used to think I'll do a monthly thing, but you buy so much stuff, don't you?
Yeah.
I'm honestly, my wife has put up with it for 22 years. God knows. I must drive her mental. I'll tell you the worst story for it. Right, I honestly thought that was it. My wife is leaving me, or she's definitely having an affair. Right, was the exclusive. It was a Walgreens. Walgreens over here is Boots. That's what it is. It's not known for its toys. It's got like a short little aisle for toys. But for some reason, they were doing Black Series exclusives in Walgreens. Weird.
Oh yeah.
Well, they were hard to find. The General Kenobi, for example, that was a Walgreens. I remember the Vias and all that. But they brought out the Force Spirit Ghost Obi-Wan, right? This is This is no word of a lie, boys. I was going to take my wife to 20 Walgreens in a weekend. She was pissed. She was she was so mad. She was so mad. And honestly, you got to the point after like the 7th one, she didn't even speak. She was just driving in the car. Not happy. Not happy. Lovely. Yeah, it was a lovely story. I agree.
Cheers, Kieran. Thank you.
Yeah, it's an amazing condition. Is that the light up one with Sam? No, Mr. B. You explain, Conor, with the X-Wings.
Yeah, so to make it cheaper, when Palatoy got the design from Kenner, they took out the electronics. So we just didn't get a light. It was just a plain that's a sticker where the Kenner one is molded. But we did get a chromed R2. Like, show that up there. I don't know if it'll show in the lights. See, our R2D2 was chromed.
Yes, sir.
Good nick, that, I know.
I cleaned it up a couple of years ago and tried to re-chrome a few spots on it. But yeah, so because this was battered, this was dragged through every hedge and everything in the neighborhood.
They were played, weren't they? They were.
Yeah. So there was no electronics in this one, no light, no sound, but we got a chrome R2.
Yeah, we did. Yeah. The X-Wing, the wings work better, says Al Delvian, on the vintage X-Wing than the recent TVC one.
Yeah, I know what you mean. That TVC one, the floppy wings are floppy. They don't sort of shoot.
Yeah, because remember you could move the cockpit and the wings. You know what I mean? That's what mine is now. I've got the battle damage one that I found over here for $13, all complete. I couldn't believe it at a flea market. Yeah. I'm looking for that over here in America, especially when it came to vintage, because I'm lucky that I've got most of vintage. I think I'm missing 4 figures from the line, but I did it before the prices went mental. Do you know what I mean? I had them all basically, and so it was a good nick. Palatoy X-Wings never had lights and sounds, which pissed me off. I don't remember the American ones you see as a kid, so I couldn't really, because I remember the Falcon made that sound, didn't it? The thing just flapping on the Falcon. What else? I don't think. Did Slave One? I don't think Slave One had any electronics, did it? That wasn't a.
I never had the Slave.
I only know one friend that had the Slave One, and I don't remember the sound. But then my memory's shot anyway.
Yeah, they could easily make a 6-inch X-Wing, said Mr. B.
Thank you, Mr. B.
It's been a long time, except for the Rancor. Yeah, I'd like it, because like I said, I got the the snow speed. Another thing I begged my wife when I got it, and I love that thing. That thing was brilliant, you know. And the land speeder was nice, and Ray's, you know, if we got to use the sequels, Ray's speeder was awesome, and they did Memphis Nests, that huge one, and I loved it. And then they just completely stopped it after the snow speeder was the last one. That was what, 3 years ago, something like that, 3-4 years ago, the snow speeder.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. Again, didn't pick up the snow speeder. Probably will have regrets, but I'd love a Black Series X-Wing.
I never knew they made more Mindy toys. And Gilster says my Morkie's getting sticky also. So
yeah,
you made it. You made the Mork one.
It was Mattel that made this.
Mattel made it, right?
Yeah. It says so underneath anyway.
The only thing that went sticky on me was the Brave Star figures. They feel a bit sticky. Brave Star ones.
1979 Mattel, made in Hong Kong.
Kieran says Pam Dorber was gorgeous. She was. Yeah, Mork and Mindy was a great show. I saw the Mork and Egg at Joe Fest for com prices. Looked quick on eBay and got a clean one for 25 quid. That's not bad. 25 quid. No. Still hard to believe that Mork and Mindy was a spin-off from Happy Days. So it actually was, because I know they have connections in it. I remember
in an episode of Happy Days, isn't it? Yeah.
Wow, I had the Mork suspenders as a kid. The suspenders, I remember that.
What do you mean as a kid? I saw a picture of you on Facebook last week wearing them.
I remember the first episode on a Saturday night. It was on TV. It was a summer day, and I went to see Battlestar Galactica: The Cylons Attack in the cinema.
Oh.
I don't know why they've never made a 6-inch of the Cylons, but then again, they'd have to use that vat metal, because that wouldn't look right, would it? A Cylon without being vat metalized, it looked like metal. So, yeah. I remember those buttons.
Imagine a Stardust and a Starbuck in the 6-inch. That'd be cool.
Yeah. I twanked they ripped his lip. I can right. The funny thing is, I know between Mother and Dad and I can imagine him sat up laughing his head off at his own joke. I know he is. Yeah. Look at him. It's still sensitive sigh. Awesome picks on DTM and Conor. Yeah. Thank you both so much. The links. I mean, you're all going to know. If you watch Shabby, you're going to know who DTM and Conor is. But the links for these two gentlemen's YouTube channels are in the description. So if you want to subscribe to the DTM or our Conor, then the link's right down there. But great stream. Right, anything to say or anything you want to talk about before we go?
Just thanks. Thank you, Dave, for hanging out. Always a pleasure. Shabby, thanks for asking us. Really enjoyed it.
Everything that Conor said. There you go.
Yeah, everybody's loving it. Stories were fantastic, brilliant stream tonight. Definitely have to do some more. I'm very, very lucky. Thank you all so much. You've all reached out, and I'm booked now till the middle of June. But
All right.
All you've got to do is, you know what it's like at Shabby's. We're just all pals having a conversation. If you want to come on, just Instagram me, just message me, say, Shabby, I'd love to show off my top 5, and that'd be great.
Yeah,
but anyway, we are done.
Good.
Yeah, like I say, and I've got some really nice, some awesome people. Do you want me to tell you who's coming on next week?
Yeah, go on, spoiler.
Next week on top 5 is Delvian Seek and Our Sai. They're the 2 guests. Next week. So Sai and Delvin are doing it next week.
Dave,
we've
already been overshadowed. We've only been on. Oh, man. Come on.
It was good while it lasted. No, not at all. But anyway, please please subscribe. We have a Patreon. If you'd like to join that, helps the channel grow so I can make live streams like this. But apart from that, again, I want to thank Connor, DTM, and all you lovely blokes in the chat. Thank you all so much for making it a show. We'll see you later. Say goodnight, lads.
Bye.